Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to AMX Season 4. It's a brand new season, and we are 7 races in, coming at you tonight with AMX1's ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione, with a Grand Classico GT3 cars on Spa-Francorchamps. What an amazing combo. This is ACC, so it's our first time throwing this one out there. We do have a lot of racers today, and it's going to be fun to highlight those for you, together with Evan. You're back again for another season. How have you been? I missed you.
I'm back. It's nice to be back in AMX. I've missed it. I'm making my debut for Season 4, as is ACC here this evening. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be exciting. We've got a great track combo as well with the car, so it should be a very fun to break us into another game.
Yeah, Evan, how many races do you think you have commentated on Spa in your lifetime?
Let me do some quick maths. Ooh, 17 billion, maybe, something along those lines. It's quite a lot.
It's pretty popular, but I mean, there's a reason, right? Never gets tired seeing cars sling themselves up. Radion, it is chef's kiss, so good. And this is ACC, so we're gonna have some sparkly graphics coming your way, along with a whole host of GT3 cars and options, setups, everything. The sky is the limit. We have a lot going on today. You're already gonna hi Evan in chat, so
just read
happy to see you back this season. We're gonna be happy to see a lot of racers, a lot of racing here today. We got a little bit of a change up in the format, so a lot to talk about today. This is the AMX Global League Season 4. If you're new to it, then welcome. If you've seen this before, then just check it out again, because there are a few adjustments. $20,000 on the line over the next 3 months until April 21st. 70 races, just about. 68, and we're already through about 14 of them. About 12 of them, I guess. The qualifying format for the Assetto Corsa Competizione competition today will include a 20-minute qualifier, which is underway right now. We'll be hopping into that in just a little bit. And then a 40-minute race with one mandatory pit stop coming up. Now, there's no time limit on that pit stop. It is a pit stop. You go into the pits, you stop, you come out of the pits. There it is. So that's going to be the format today. It's a little bit longer, a little bit more protracted, but that pit stop timing might make things kind of interesting. So we do want you to join via video link. However you want to get your video to us, on your phone, on your PC, on your sim rig, whatever. You can find that link on AMXrace.com or by joining the AMX Global Discord server. Check out the announcements. It is there. You can sign up to race at AMXrace.com with us on Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And when you win over $100, we pay you out every month in increments. This is the schedule. We go racing on Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, starting off at AMX1's time, 5:50 p.m. GMT, and then AMX10 starting about an hour and a half after that at 7:20 p.m. GMT. So yeah, the same times every day. So yeah, come out and join us. This is a look at the prize pool, which is the same for every single race. This is AMX1, and so just to clarify, this is $100 on the line per race. That means that normally we would split that up between 3 different sections, but for our Assetto Corsa Competizione race, this is the prize pool for today. Everything's kind of quadrupled, so you're looking at $4 for the fastest lap, and then $25 for first, $20 for second, and $15 for third, all the way on down, which is kind of a lot for just one race. 40 minutes to get out there, show what you got, get a placement, get a prize for that placement, and that is the way things are going to be done today for our venture into ACC. Now, this is a look at the AMX1 Top 12. Connor Healy up at number 1. Facundo Arago and Diego Villarreal de Leon coming in the top 3, so that's your podium sitters, and everyone else out there not doing too badly, but you're starting to see kind of a trend here. The more you race, the more you win, and the higher up on the podium you will stand, which puts you in the running for the championship prize at the end of the season. Today is part of the ACC class of races, so while your point totals will go towards this ranking, your class ranking is also important, and we'll have more information on that in just a little bit. And that's going to do it for the AMX1 Top 12. Here's a look at how you can get your name on there for even less. Normally, you can sign up on amxrace.com for AMX1 or AMX10 races for $1 or $10. But if you get in a little bit ahead of schedule, you can get a 30% discount if you sign up to 3 days ahead of time. Or three days or more ahead of time. And if you want an even deeper discount, you can get half off, 50% off all races by purchasing a season discount ticket. So season tickets available. Click the link in the bar at the top of your screen. On amxrace.com, get yourself a season ticket for any one of our 6 different classes of races this season. And we'd love to see you out on track with us for even less. For a limited time only, I'm required to say that. That's going to do it for our promotions, which means that it's finally time to talk about what and where we're racing now. And for that, I'm going to throw it over to Evan once again.
Yes, what a brilliant circuit we have here this evening, the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, located in Stavelot. It's near the eastern border of Belgium. Mainly a Formula 1 circuit, of course, but has hosted many a GT3 race in the past, including the 24 Hours of Spa. 7.004 kilometers, 4.352 miles with 20 corners. Well, that is up to your own interpretation of whether a flat-out kink on a straight does count as a corner. First race in Formula 1 was in 1950, but it was first used in 1925 for a race first opened in 1921, of course, as you can see on your screens. And it has been home to controversy where races have maybe not ever started with all fans in attendance. There's also been some big crashes with damage up to $13 million. Don't think the AMX crew want to pay that here this evening. And now then to our cars for this evening's race. We are, of course, in the Blancpain GT3 cars. There is loads and loads of cars, especially in the GT3 class on the ACC game, from Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Porsches, Aston Martins. But they range from about 500 to 600 brake horsepower, mostly rear-wheel driven. The 6-speed sequential gearbox in most of these, and their engines can range from V8s to V6s, and then I know even on iRacing we have some V10s, which is always appreciated by those watching at home. But the weight, rather heavy, but these cars can still bring really, really good racing, and I think we're going to see that hopefully here this evening around a fabulous Belgian Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, excellent intro, Evan, because there is going to be not only a lot of racing, because we do have this 40-minute race time, but man, these cars just look so sexy, and I don't mind saying it. We have a lot coming your way today. These are the GT3 car lists from ACC, and if there's any game, any platform you're going to race ACC or you're going to race GT3s on, I mean, this might be one of the best. So very happy to hop onto the hood and indeed inside for the first time our GT3 cars coming your way. We are going to be checking out Marek Dvorak, who is in P6 currently. Currently 12 drivers in qualifying, but of course you can also join at any time during qualifiers, and it lasts for 20 minutes, so there's plenty of time to get out there and get your best times in. Currently about 10 minutes left in qualifying, so our racers have been out there practicing their way around Spa, and for the most part they should be pretty familiar with it, especially if you're an ACC racer. You probably hit this track just infinite times.
Yeah, I think if you play any sort of sim racing game, you know this track, even if that's Forza Motorsport or something, like Gran Turismo or something along those lines, you are familiar. And if you're a sport fan, which the majority of sim racers tend to be, you will be well familiar with this circuit. But currently in qualifying, we have 10 minutes to go. It is Thibaut Prévost, the Luxembourger, who is top in his McLaren with a 2:16. Very long lap time here, so I know we do have a 40-minute race ahead, but we're not actually going to get as much laps in as maybe we might get on some of the 20-minute races on the shorter circuits. But looking at Diego Villarreal in your picture-in-picture, he is also in the McLaren. Just looking at the timing on the left-hand side of your screen, of course, the McLaren is the most popular choice. So clearly these guys feel that's going to be the quickest machinery here this evening. Only one Ferrari, one Mercedes, a handful of BMWs. But yeah, the British McLaren team are the favourites of our grid here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily expected that, but I was interested to see because there's always a lot of flexibility, and it's not like there are some wrong choices. It's just kind of what fits your play style, and there might be a few guys out on track trying to figure out which one suits them the best. And that's one of the best things that you love about seeing these guys out on track racing is it's different every time. Everybody's got a different way to do it, a different comfort zone, and we're on board with Diego Villarreal, seeing what his comfort zone is as he speeds on by. The gorgeous graphics coming your way in a McLaren. Has almost dropped it a couple times, so I've been a little bit nervous, but he's been able to keep things going through, and is currently good enough for a P9, but probably some room for improvement.
Yeah, there was a couple of hairy moments heading through the final couple of corners there, and even we were looking at his picture-in-picture, he's kind of giggling to himself. He knows, yeah, probably made an absolute mess of that, but nonetheless, still plenty of time to get used to these cars. And most of these guys we would be familiar with from AMX Season 3, from the iRacing Championships of the world, so this is a new learning experience for them as well, in terms of racing on ACC. One thing we know about sim racers is they do like to sim race, so a lot of them will have had previous experience on, but not in AMX, so that would be one exciting thing to see. Of course, reverse grids, certainly a predominant feature of AMX, so it'll be interesting to see, or to compare, I should say, how easy it is, or how difficult it is, to cut through a field on ACC and iRacing. That'll be one thing I'm looking forward to anyways, but 7.5 minutes, give or take, to go in qualifying. Still, quite close in the field, so I expect some big laps to go in soon.
Going to check out one of my favorite drivers, of course, another one of the racers joining us from SDL Racing. SDL, a team that we actually I talked with a little bit earlier on this season. There's like, hey, excited for the ACC Championship. Love to get my team involved. So SDL Esports will be joining us for the races this season. We're happy to see them out here joining our championship to see what they can show. Of course, if you're fans of SDL, of course, you can watch this race and their participation in this race on their channels. And if you're familiar with them, then they are also a very storied French esports team who's going to be joining us. Multiple time sim racing world champions. I think 14 times they've won championships of one sort or another. And it's awesome to see their drivers racing us with us this season in those SDL tags. But man, I got to give a big shout out to Thibaud Prevost, who joins us in first place. Provisional pole is his with a 2:16, and I don't mind telling you, Evan, we have a little bit of an in-office competitive competition going on for fastest laps on some of these iconic tracks, like Spa, and I haven't gotten my time down below 2:16, so I might want to take a little bit of an extra glance at Mr. Prevost to see how on earth he is doing that.
Well, he's not under 2:16 either yet, Reed, so he's going to improve that fairly quickly. But one thing I do want to shout out to whoever designed that car. That is an absolute beautiful livery.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, Evan, all the liveries today looking very spiffy. Spick and span shined up for tonight's race, and man, I could just watch this forever. I also want to give another big shout out now that we're here racing in ACC. Every time the car speeds by the camera, I just like the sounds just make me want to take off my earphones and see if I'm hearing it in real life. So hot to see everything race by in a little bit of extra reality here, and the flames coming out the back. Some extra love here from Mr. Prevost. See in chat, what game is this? This is Assetto Corsa Competizione. That's what we're racing for our first race today in AMX 1. A little bit later on, we're going to be returning to iRacing for our AMX 10 race. So that will be on iRacing. So, oh man, here we go, Evan. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Sorry, just said I'd stay silent and just let everyone enjoy that for a split second up on Rouge and Raddy on. This is the Mercedes, the only one here this evening, so we'll see how this handles compared to the McLaren of Prevost, who we were just looking at, and of course the many McLarens across the field. Yeah, we're going to have plenty of time to enjoy these beautiful pieces of machinery here this evening. So a little bit heavy on the curbs is Marek there. He was heading through the Lake Combe chicane, and Malmedy, the right-hander at turn number 9, and then drifts it wide into the hairpin. Another interesting thing you will see that I'm just noticing now, we'll see a bit of a different driving style from some of these drivers here this evening. Obviously, we have ran GT3s in the past on iRacing, and I believe we're running GTEs later on, which is it's a very similar sort of a car. But a bit of a different driving style needed from game to game. If you race yourself at home, folks, you will know that even if you're playing different other types of games, if you're going from a first-person shooter to a third-person shooter, you've got to change how you play it. It's the exact same on these different sim racing platforms. So it'll be very intriguing to see if your top drivers in AMX from iRacing. Now, that's not to say they're all top drivers and they all wouldn't absolutely school me if I was taking part in one of these races, but it'll be interesting to see how they perform.
Yeah, and we've seen some of these guys join our iRacing races in AMX 1 and AMX 10, and here they are, a different game. When it comes to ACC, it is the competitive version of the Assetto Corsa base game, which obviously a lot of flexibility, customization there. When you take it to ACC, that extra C locks it down a little bit and makes it really, really authentic to what the GT3 driving experience really is. Lets you get in there and focus on your driving, and I think that's what we see, at least here from... I got to learn how to say this guy's name, man. We've had so many French racers in here, and I'm sorry, guys. It is a little bit for somebody way across the pond. I know you gave us that nice bronze statue that we put near New York. It's great, but I'm sorry I can't repay the favor today with that. I'm guessing this is like Leon, but I'm doing my best here. I'm just gonna call him Kevin. Man, my man Kevin, if he had a different first name, we wouldn't be best friends anymore. But thank God his parents were being considerate there. Unless I'm supposed to say it like Kevin, but that's not going to happen. So sorry, man.
We're probably going to be on Florian Odega's TikTok again later, aren't we? With some of these pronunciations.
I think that was Le Livre.
Oh yeah, it was the other one.
The other one, right?
Le Livre.
Always
he did
a
teach
good
us
time
twice.
here. I mean, I'm way more comfortable saying Santiago Barrios. That wasn't actually my best one, but Rebellion Autosport being represented here. Santiago takes his way on track, and we can't do a reverse grid today, or we can't do it like a double reverse grid like we're used to. But there are 12 drivers on track, and we do pay out to the top 15 drivers, which means everybody today is going home with something, even if you are the 12th fastest racer on track as he speeds by in his BMW.
12 fastest being slowest, of course, but Reed is going the nice way about it.
Only positive thoughts here, Evan.
Nico Godoy, not really having some positive thoughts at the minute, because he's stuck at the pit lane. He's obviously not going to get another lap in, so does not feel it is necessary to come out. Thibaut Prevost is in the pit lane as well, so he is the quickest, meaning it is open for another driver to beat it. That's not necessarily an unbeatable time. Here is Leo Mora. We are currently looking at the current 12th fastest racer, who he is hoping that he can improve on this time. Definitely can do, because he's not too far off. Diego Villarreal is in 9th, and there's 2 drivers in between that as well. I definitely think this is a bit of a learning experience for these guys, so I think they'll be learning a lot about the game here today, especially at such a difficult track. We're not giving them an easy start here at AMX. They're going to have to work for this one if they want to win the 40-minute race that is coming up in a few moments' time.
And in 40 minutes, this is our last 10 seconds of qualifying. I don't know if there's any final times coming through here. I got my fingers crossed. These GC3s are pretty darn fast, but he's going to have to go a little bit faster if he wants to get across the line. And in fact, it will not come down. But we are going to have a little bit of a buffer zone here. Let's see how long it takes our racers to come on through. And at the end of the day, We didn't see a sub 216 time from Prevost, but he did get the provisional pole way up there. Although I will say only 75 hundredths behind him from our SDL racers, and then another 3/10 back for Kevin, who's come into the provisional P3. Yeah, like I said, I don't foresee any drastic changes in here, and I'm only saying that just in case somebody proves me wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's too many improving on their time. I'm having a little look at the timing screens. It's not necessarily lighting up purple with the quickest times, but here comes Santiago Barros, the Rebellion Autosport team. Let's see if he can jump up the grid, maybe even a little bit. A spot or two would help in the qualifying, especially with prize money on the line. So here comes Barrios towards the start-finish line. No, unfortunately not. Won't be an improvement. Oh no, it will. It is an improvement actually, but he doesn't improve in position. But he does improve his time, so at least that's going to be a little bit of a confidence booster before we get into the main event of the evening.
Yeah, I gotta say, it depends on kind of what kind of racer you are. Do you need that boost? Are you just a stone cold killer? I don't know. But after all is said and done, I want to emphasize that this is not the same as our previous races, in that usually we're giving out prize money for our first, second, and third sections. So there's prize money on the line for qualifying. There's prize money on the line for our first heat, and then there's prize money on the line for our second heat as well. And then we do a top 15 reverse grid in between both of those. So for this competition, there's one way to get your prize money. Your qualifications do not matter. It's how you finish the big 40-minute race coming up. So that's really going to be maybe a little bit of added pressure. Maybe if you have one bad race, and we actually heard this in an interview yesterday from Toby. It was just saying that like some races you really struggle, and then you think to yourself, okay, well, at least I get another chance, right? No second chances today. It's just one big bad race, and the best you can do in it. So love the extra pressure, and it's going to be exciting to see how that affects our drivers here. Evan, you want to take us through the results from our qualifications here?
Yeah, it was a McLaren dominance at Spa-Francorchamps. It was Prevost who takes the pole position, and he will be on the reverse grid. It actually says we have a 16 driver list, so we might have a few more cars hopping in. Then it was Noguer in second, Kevin in third, Leon, I think, Kevin Leon. Kevin can very much slander and correct us post-race. Then it was Zuhali in fourth, with Lozano in fifth, Mikado sixth, Junior in seventh. Then it was Marek, I'm going to probably butcher this one, but I think Reed has this one's nailed down, Dvorak. Then it was Santiago Barrios.
I understand it only that much.
Then it was Diogo Villarreal in 10th position, with Godoy in 11th, Mora in 12th. Then it was Godoy in 13th again, seemingly. So a bit of a glitch of the timing screen there. Then Mora, Villarreal, as that is the qualifying results. Sorry if I was a bit close to my screen. I was trying to reach them out there, and we cut back to the cameras.
Evan's just really excited here, guys. He can't get enough of that. I actually love it because some of the, we require your video feed to come through to us, and every once in a while, one of the guys just props his phone up like right here. We can see the whites of his eyes. It just makes it look like every moment of the race is super intense. So, deep breath. I'm ready because we just finished qualifying, and that means we're coming back with, I agree, a 16 racer grid. Like I said, you can join it anytime during qualifying, and we encourage you to set a qualification time. But as we pop onto the grid, this is going to be 12 racers that I see here. I'm guessing.
Yeah, big glitch.
Yeah, I'm guessing that there might have been a little bit extra there. But in the end, 12 racers starting on the field. From what I can tell, we had majority McLaren, then it goes BMW, a couple of Ferraris, and a couple of Mercedes that I saw earlier, but that was a 16 grid. So for 12, it's only Dvorak who is running the Mercedes on track today. So maybe a little bit of a lone wolf, and we'll see if that reflects itself in the end of the race.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see the fuel economy and tyre economy as well, because of course we have a mandatory pit stop for these guys. So it'll be really interesting to see, is it easier to save your tyres in a McLaren or in a Ferrari or something. McLarens in GT3s have typically been known for being decent on their tyres. Ferrari, usually is the way to go for some Le Mans cars or something like that. But look, this is ACC, and most of it can be down to the driver. We're looking at Revo, however, who is fastest. He's getting the 20-second call before we start the race here, Reed. This is going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, that's right. We're coming down to the wire. The green lights are prepped and ready to go, and we are about to get underway with our very first Assetto Corsa Competizione race here in AMX Global League Season 4. It is going to be a start right off the line, and away we go.
I believe it's a rolling start, Reed.
I believe it is. I saw them standing there, and I'm used to the usual pace cars, so I apologize for the small bit of confusion on my part. Coming away off after a more passive start than I expected. Polar salmon. I love it. We're going to get a chance to look back at an absolutely beautiful grid behind us from the lead car, and now from the rear car to see what it looks from every possible angle. Shout out to Leo Mora, Omega Racing Team behind here, and there's the sound of the engines firing up as we cross the line and get this race underway.
Yeah, immediately a battle for the race lead. Thibaut Bravo has been put under a huge amount of pressure from his two fellow McLarens down the Camel Straight and in towards Lake Cole. Brevo's going to take the inside line here, and the Luxembourger is just hoping that he can lead come the end of the chicane. There's way later on the brakes goes Noguer, and he will lead the opening lap here at Spa-Francorchamps, but there is plenty of overtaking opportunities. Brevo kind of caught napping a little bit there, maybe at the race start. It was a much better launch from the two behind him.
Yeah, exactly. Just shows how much can change here in a matter of seconds. Now, this is going to be a long one, guys. 40 minutes out on Spa tonight. So, obviously, starts are very important. But this isn't a Monaco. There's plenty of opportunities left for us here today. On board right now with Prevost as he watches his lead kind of slip away there. The SDL Esports racers doing presumably very well, but still McLaren dominance up at the front. You're going to check out Diego Villarreal in the middle of the field, currently P7, and it's all about execution, right? You've just got to get through everything, and hopefully not many issues coming his way, although I will say the DT or drive-through penalty is up there. And that's one thing to talk about here for ACC. Penalties are handled a little bit differently, so you're going to see those more involved than you would on some of our usual iRacing races.
Yeah, it is a drive-through penalty for Villarreal, but there is plenty of time for him to fight back through the field. Is Prevo going to have a look in towards the bus stop chicane? He had a look, but did not execute a move, but it's a little bit wide from the lead McLaren, and Bravo, a bit of contact between the two. That's going to allow Kevin to get the switchback maneuver on the pair of them, and he will presumably take the race lead as we cross on towards, or we cross the main grid start-finish line. Kevin now brakes a lot later, and now it's his turn to run wide, and he's going to have Prevo, Zuhali and Noguer on the inside of him on the run down towards Eau Rouge. They're free wide here through one of the fastest corners in motorsport, really. It's not a good idea to do it in GT3s. They don't. They fall back single file, but that was a couple of hairy moments for a few of the race leaders.
Yeah, cutting a little bit on into Stavolo, so that was not maybe the exact line they were looking for. But that's what happens when you put pedal to the metal and try to really juice your way through each one of these turns. It's Noguer. I'm going to do it a different way every time. Who finds himself in the lead next to Prevost, and then the second STL driver, Kevin, behind him. So Haley in P4 representing. He's holding solid there and seems to have really found himself a berth there. From there, you really do take a little bit of a break to drop through the rest of the field. And still that drive-through penalty yet to be served there in the middle of it. But even Junior back there in the back has plenty of time to just execute a strong race, make up a little bit at a time, see what he can do as we up on board with Mauricio Lozano from Goats Esports. Excellent farm animal name.
Yes, running a striking pink and black livery as well. It's a peculiar colour mix that you don't usually see in motorsport, but it's nice to see here in AMX once again. And the field quite bunched together for Spa-Francorchamps. Now I know there is a little bit of a schism in it there with the gap between Lozano and the top four, but the top four all saying nip and tuck. However, if I was a chief executive officer or maybe even the marketing team of McLaren, I'd be certainly enjoying this one because they seem the quicker car. Here comes Timo Prevo. Gonna go for this one up the inside. Oh wow! Bit of a door-to-door rubbing between the two McLarens heading through the fast Blanchimont. It was risky from the pair of them, and now Prevo trying late on the brakes. Is he going to hit the back of the 720S in front of him? No, he won't, but he will lose a spot to the man behind him. Prevo now falls down to third. Maybe some early signs of frustration here, as I believe we saw Zuhali pull into the pit lane for a very early stop. Wow, look at this from Prevo. Late on the brakes down the inside in towards last source. Traditionally the first corner on this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Prevo is a...
Looks like you might be cutting out there a little bit, but yeah, going to come up through Eau Rouge, and you can really see that frustration maybe a little bit more. He's getting absolutely bumped around here by the STL Esports guys who are really asserting their dominance up there in P1 and 2. Lozano, Prevo coming up behind them, and they are absolutely fighting through every single corner here. So this is going to be really exciting because that means the field is close and competitive. There's going to be a lot of great racing to watch over the next 34 minutes.
Yeah, and Prevo's not hanging about either. He's not thinking of how long this race is. He's going with a traditional get past the car in front mindset, which is very entertaining for us watching the 159 car against the 26 and the 27 of the two McLarens in front. That's of course because they're teammates of the STL Esports team. So they might start working together at some point in this race, and maybe they're thinking, right, if we work together, we can drop Prevo. Just looking at the picture-in-picture, Kevin Leon. Is that, I think eventually, Reed, if we do enough attempts of that surname, we have to be right eventually.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking the shotgun approach to this one, Evan, where if you do enough attempts, eventually you'll hit it, and that's what you're looking for. So, apologies already. Look, we're doing our best here. So, on board with Kevin. In P2, executing very well. You can see a pretty calm look on his face right there. Kevin also, and I just wanted to reiterate this for the STL Esports guys, these guys are going to be streaming their POVs if you want their first-person views where you can see shenanigans like that happening. Every single corner here seems like it could end in total tragedy. And oh, there it is, a little bit of a strong arm move up the inside.
Yeah, a little bit of a shoulder barge from Timo Prevo up the inside. The Kansas City Chiefs will be hoping he's starting at the front for this evening with that sort of tackle on Kevin behind. But yeah, as we were saying about surnames, it's an American and an Irishman. We're not going to be able to say French language surnames.
Doing our best. Eventually, as I finish up my French Duolingo, maybe by the end of it, I'll be able to help myself out a little bit here. Leo Mora leads the 7th place spot for now. McLaren, number 32, as he comes up here. Does have a little bit of close racing behind Junior, who's climbed up from that last place spot. He has made it all the way up to P8 from P12, so a big earner. And of course, that's thanks in part to Diego Villarreal and Nico Godoy, who have received 30-second stop-go penalties, which are going to really put them towards the back of the field for now.
Mora taking a little bit of a trip to the grass there on the outside of turn number 8. I believe there was a little bit of a nudge between himself and Junior, but he's recovered back on the road. There's no external damage for Leo there, and he will be able to carry on fighting with one of two BMWs. The Beamers currently 5th and 7th, so they have improved on where they qualified. Maybe the BMW a stronger race car, and it's going to be able to be better on the strategy. I said there was no damage for Mora, but looking at the way he's just taken that corner, that might be something to keep an eye for.
Yeah, and damage is another thing that you have to keep an eye out. Not just physical damage, but also magic damage as well. But also like sort of structural damage to the outside of the car, to the tires also. But the other thing with the pit stop that is mandatory for all of our racers tonight is going to be fuel economy as well, right? There's a lot that you can do to change your tire wear, your fuel economy, and as you drive, you have to think to yourself, okay, how am I doing on fuel? The more you use, you want to use it so that you can go faster, but then obviously you don't want to run out depending on when you make your pit stop and how much you want to get juiced up with later on. So a lot to consider here as we add that little extra dynamic aspect to our race that we are 10 out of 30 minutes or 10 out of 40 minutes through, coming through the 25% mark. And gotta say, most of the action here in the top three, very, very exciting to watch, and then a little bit more as we head on down the rostrum. But just because that's the way it is now, anything could change in 30 minutes.
Here we go, we got a nice replay on the picture-in-picture of that Leo Moore incident. That's a bit of a weird one. It didn't look like there was much contact between the two, but something obviously sent the McLaren off the road. And yeah, he recovered fairly quickly, didn't lose too much time, and was able to keep it in 8th place, which is not too shabby at all. Just looking at that battle up the front, though, it seems like Prevost kind of dropped off for a lap or two. Maybe he's not setting the best of times, but he's right back in it now, right behind the 27 McLaren in front, and he's looking to make some moves, maybe soon. Another thing Prevost could consider, of course, is the undercut in the pitting. Pit strategy is not something we've probably ever really spoke about on AMX before, but we can now. The undercut, if you're not too sure what it is when you pit a lap or two earlier than the guy in front of you. You do two quick out laps because you're on fresher tyres. As we can see, Godoy just serving a stop-going penalty. That's not him going on a tyre strategy such as an undercut or an overcut. That's him being penalised for, unfortunately, misbehaving out on the circuit.
Yeah, and also just want to make a note if you're new to the overlay, because there is a mandatory pit stop, that is indicated by that orange 1 right next to the car numbers up there. So it looks like Godoy both had the penalty and served a pit stop back there. The only other guy that's pitted so far is Zuhaili, who is pitted, and that puts him 30 seconds back, which you might imagine will be compensated for later on once the rest of our drivers pit. Hopping on board with SDL's P1 driver Fabien, and he is going wheel to wheel around the inside of the corner. Whoa! Looks like Thibaut Prevost will not take no for an answer up into P1 for, I guess, the second time after the start, but really, really hard fought to make it all the way up there. No penalties assessed just yet, so you might imagine he is feeling pretty happy to be back up in the lead.
Yeah, that's a great move from Prevost. Absolutely cracking job. He seems to like this third sector of the track. It's where he's probably quickest. He's made a couple of overtakes there. It seems like they're both fairly nip and tuck in the first and second sectors. Maybe even Nuger is quicker, as we can see Kevin making his pit stop as well. Keep an eye on Zuhaili, because he was with this crew. I'm assuming he's had a trouble-free race since he made that pit stop, so he will be very quick. And when these guys pit, he may be in front of them, but Zuhaili's tyres are going to be knackered come the end of the race, and Prevost is going to have much quicker ones. But it obviously matters on how far Zuhaili could be ahead come the end of the race, and whether Prevost will have enough time to catch him. But that's a discussion for about 10 minutes or so time, when we expect the race leaders to come into the pits at about the halfway.
Yeah, this is really interesting, and I once again, this is my very first Competizione race to be working on. So the pit strategy, I'm not used to this from normal short form kind of heat style broadcasting, and so I have a lot to learn. Evan, of course, very used to pit stops and strategies. Oh my God, I was worried there for a second as we were watching Prevost really take that wide angle out. And obviously that's correct, but on board it really gives you that that passenger feeling. I don't really ever aspire to be a passenger in a race car really of any sorts. I have deep latent trauma in there, so this is motivational, but also a little bit terrifying to watch. That's what it takes to be in P1, Evan, and it is absolutely terrifying, and the reason that I'm very happy to see these guys out on the track instead of being there myself.
It's like those clips where you see Formula 1 drivers or GT3 drivers bring a celebrity around in the car, and the celebrity is holding the seat and screaming all the time. That's what's happening to poor Reed in the commentary box when we go on board with Prevost.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, in truth, that happens every time I try to check this stuff out. But it's great to see so much up close and personal action here. Not only this view of from atop Radion, but the drivers just really taking, I think, basically textbook perfect laps around here. And that's one of the reasons that we see Prevost with such an advantage. Still close, but that early pit from Kevin puts him at the back, even though he is a stop ahead. So just something to keep an eye on as we get through a much longer race. And obviously that'll even out once the rest of the pits come through.
Yeah, we will see. Maybe the field bunched together, maybe it's spread out, but it's still rather close at the front. It's only 1.5 seconds, which is not a lot for a 40-minute race around a 7 kilometers track, or 4.3 miles if you prefer the mile system, or old money as it's called here in Ireland. Don't ask, makes no sense.
There's no way. Did they really call it that? That's awesome.
Yeah, because we changed from pounds and punts to euros, and we changed them from miles to kilometers at a similar time, so they call it old money. So there's a bit of Irish trivia for you if you were interested in that sort of thing. But it's
this is my cultural education.
As speaking of education, Zuhali, one of few Malaysian drivers here in AMX. It's always great to see drivers from different countries, so certainly that's something I like to see. I always like to see people from around the world enjoying a similar hobby or profitable racing experience if your name is Thibaut Brevo as it stands.
There's a long history of Malaysian racing tradition. I want to say there have been Malaysian Formula 1 drivers. I think it was did Alex Yoong who raced for Minardi back in the day.
That's still a good shout.
Yeah. So there's also I think he actually went on to have a big career in karts, supercars, and a bunch of other racing. And I think that a lot of racers look to him when you think about Malaysian racing dominance. No matter where you're racing out there, chances are there's going to be some inspiration there for Zuhaili, who comes through in P9 already on that pit stop. And it's representing. Glad to see him representing his country out here in our very first Assetto Corsa Competizione race.
So, I know we were speaking about liveries earlier, but that is another beautiful livery on board Mateus Mercado. That is a real-life livery. That's Team WRT's livery from the Blancpain GT series, which is where these cars are based off. That is the livery Valentino Rossi drives around in case you couldn't tell by the 46 and the slight luminescent yellow all over the car. It is another stunning one. I'm a big enjoyer of liveries, in case you couldn't tell from my half a season or so in AMX, where I've probably spoken about liveries on every single occasion.
My favorite part is reminding us that we are a team in the back. I was
just about to say that seems kind of an obvious statement. Like, yes, you are a team.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I like teams unless they're team projects in school. That I could maybe do without. And I absolutely love the way that Dvorak has his lighting position, because it looks like he's playing in the middle of a high school football game. It's just like from center field.
Yeah, it does look like that. The light is very much shining at him. Although I don't know how he does that, because I would have thought that would have put him off. I have the light on as well in front of me for commentating, and sometimes you have to move it to put you off. And commentating is arguably much easier than driving a GT3 around Spa-Francorchamps. So I don't know. Hold on, did that just change colour? I
No
definitely
way.
That light just changed colour.
Oh, this guy is an e-sportsman. He is a cyber athlete, professional gamer. That is some next. I wonder if it changes like in response to something in the game. That would truly be next level racing. #nextlevelracing.com. I love also that we can change between our different overlay setups, thanks in part to this being Assetto Corsa Competizione, where we can see things like tire wear, things like the throttle, brake setup, everything that he's got going on there. Nice to see Dvorak out there on track up into P5 with no pit stops served. And so he's got a little bit of time to lose later on, but seems to be going quite well so far in P5. And looking forward to seeing what he does after that pit stop. And just obviously as we enter the second half of our race, 19 minutes in the books, 21 to go.
Yeah, it's been an enjoyable race so far. The gap up the front is extending to 2.9 seconds. Although 20 minutes gone, we've only done 8 laps. That is truly how long Spa-Francorchamps is. It is a very long circuit. The longest on the Formula 1 calendar, certainly not the longest on a World Endurance calendar, because, we have Le Mans, certainly not the longest in the world, because, we have the Nordschleife. So it is probably looked down upon by the Nordschleife, but it is certainly a long circuit compared to other circuits we have been at. There is your race leader. It looks like he's just on a Sunday drive. He certainly isn't. It is flat to the max for Prevost, and now is kind of the point where he has to start thinking about when he's going to serve this mandatory pit stop. It'll be around this time because we are halfway through the race, so we'll wait and see how he plays it.
Yeah, right. No, honestly, I'm out here learning with the rest of you guys. If you are seasoned racers, then maybe you have some expert analysis on this, which, by the way, you can submit to us via Instagram or Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching and you have some feedback or some thoughts on today's broadcast, we would love to see what you guys have to say. I was actually seeing a few tweets and posts come through before the race from guys like SDL, but also some of the other racers. And yeah, it's really cool to see not only you guys in the community when it comes to our AMX Discord, but also out there on social media letting us know kind of what you're driving, when you're driving. Fun to follow kind of the careers of a lot of these guys who drive in multiple different championships, right? They're in from one to the next, and fun to follow the journey of some of our esportsmen as we watch Prevost come through the pits himself, and also a little bit of a notice there for Leo Mora, who will be heading through the pits himself also for a stop-go penalty coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunate to get the stop-go. That will hurt his chances of maybe a good result in this race, because he's already made his pit stop, so he was on a good strategy. Prevost's garage very late in this long pit lane in Spa-Francorchamps. In your picture-in-picture, of course, you can see the race leader, so I imagine he'll be coming in the next lap to cover off Prevost on the quicker tyres, and we'll see if maybe a swap in the lead is the result. Of course, Prevost has pitted from the lead, so he realistically should keep it. As we see another pitter as well, this is Dvorak, who is coming into the pit lane in an all-black Mercedes. We've been speaking about some creative liveries. He's gone for a Batman-style one.
Yeah, no, and I love it, and it would make sense, and perhaps a statement using the Mercedes here in that livery. We're going to be seeing a lot of black when it comes to many racing series out there. I was checking out the new Formula One liveries that have quite a bit of that black-gray carbon fiber showing. And I believe this is black paint, so not on the same page, but the theme is there.
It is, as we actually see Zuhali overtake Prevost. So what we were saying was Zuhali pit way earlier to try and get the undercut on Prevost. And he absolutely has. I think Kevin has as well, actually. As the time of terror just reshuffles, that is actually the SDL driver in front. And the gap between Zuhali and Kevin is 21.3 seconds on the timing screen. I'll just have a look at my own timing screen to see if that has fixed, because sometimes it can go a little bit out of shape. No, sorry, mine hasn't updated either. So Apologies, but it does seem like pitting later has hampered Prevo's track position, but he will have much fresher tyres towards the end of the race. So he is going for a cut through the field approach, and he's going to try to take the win that way.
Taking the win, 16 and a half minutes away. I love that we actually have some very, very different strats. You were talking about undercutting earlier. The leaders, especially Noger, there's got to be some better way to do that, has yet to pit 10 laps left, and that's going to take some time to get that in there. So I want to see what the result is when our top 4 race leaders come down to kind of be alongside the rest of them after having that done. Also, keep in mind, when you do pick up fuel, it's going to make you a little bit slower. You just have to have enough to get to the end of the race. It would be a little bit tragic if that did not happen, but you might imagine these guys have been around the track for a little bit, a few times. So expecting the best from them, as we do see once again Prevost and Kevin Leon right next to each other. It feels like they will be there locked in an eternal battle, the Sisyphean journey of AMX's ACC race. We're back on board, hopping in to see Kevin looking like he's got a few laps in him, so probably feeling warmed up and ready to go for the final half of this race.
Yeah, he's probably thinking how he's going to defend from Prevost behind, because there's no shying away from the fact Prevost is going to have a great slipstream down this straight, and he does have good pace through the corners as well, so he might go for the position here. Kevin is just going to have to think about that, maybe plan a defensive tactical, bit of a wave of the hand there as well, so maybe not happy about something. Just stay ahead here for now, so he'll be happy about that one. Very, I should say he's putting multiple inputs into the steering wheel there, so might be struggling with a bit of understeer, oversteer. The car wants to go away from him. He's controlling that nicely though, all the same, and staying ahead of Prevost for the time being. But we know Prevost likes a little sector-free overtake. It was actually a bit of a nudge. That was front bumper to rear bumper, as we have a lovely onboard from Thibaut Prevost as well in the picture-in-picture. He's got a good exit out of the Jackie X curve. Can maybe go for this one in towards Pujon. It's a quick left-hander. It's a big lunge from Thibaut Prevost, and there's a bit of a contact between the two of them. Somehow they both make it through the corner as Prevost, wow, has to take a really wide outside line. That's something for Kevin to be unhappy about. It was maybe a bit of a reckless lunge from Prevost, but the Luxembourger likes a challenging move. That was a challenging one that's been completed.
That is insane. Oh my God. There's so much close racing between these guys, and I gotta say, the more I watch Prevost race, the more you can kind of see what his style is, and that is very, very hard. And he was actually the one illustrating some frustration earlier on when he was passed up by Noger and by Kevin Leon there as well. So maybe racing for a little bit more than the rest of the field, with some vengeance on his mind. Absolutely determined to get back up into position, and that is why he is, running number one potentially for a reason. Oh, actually, no, the number one was Lozano. My bad. Either way, regardless, 159. He's got some extra numbers behind it. He is here on our screen, and nice to be able to compare that.
Yeah, I remember when I commentated him in the past. I think it was TCR cars, maybe around Magny-Cours or something like that, in AMX, of course. One of the many fantastic combinations, and he was exactly the same. Both a nice lunge up the inside, bit of a risky move, and 9 out of 10 times he pulls it off. He's showing that again here this evening. It's not gone wrong yet. Will it go wrong from at some point? We'll wait and see. Still 4 cars coming to the pit lane now. That is Noger, Lozano, Mercado, and Junior, who are all not made their mandatory pit stop just yet. With 12 minutes to go, I think they'll be coming in soon, so they can maximise the best tyres. As, yep, right on cue. In comes Fabio.
More pit stops being served as we check this replay of what was a very hard inside cut right against him. He almost made it past for just a clean fade into the racing line, but you got to get it done however you want to, however you can, and that is the way the cookie crumbles for him. Nice to see a lead up there as we rejoin our, pitting. Fabien Noger's race leader comes in through the pits straight, and will be coming back out. I'll see where he finds himself in the lineup here. I'm not sure if he's specifically trying to undercut anybody, but still all 4 racers in the top 4 yet to come through the pits, so he is going to be the first one of them to do that.
Yeah, here he comes then into the box. This is going to be an agonizingly long hold, regardless of how long it actually is. The Ferrari now leads the race of Lozano, as Nogier just going to find his correct pit box. There's no pit crew animations on ACC, just like iRacing, so he's got to just find it. There he is. Into the pit box goes Nogier, and now he just has to wait and wait and wait and pray that once he goes back out onto Rouge and Ragnon, which is about now, he'll be in the lead of this race. But there's going to be cars hunting him down. Here is Thibaut Brevo heading in towards turn number 1. Wow, big overcut here for the now provisional lead McLaren of Nogier. He is coming back out onto the circuit. If he leaves Zulhali, no, is going to take it. That is Zulhali, who is now in the provisional race lead. However, he's used lots. There is on probably the best set of tyres in the field as of now until the end of this race. Thibaut Brevo lost out big time there and stuck behind Kevin, so you can kind of see why he was going for that reckless move.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and this is something that might look a little bit weird on the timing tower, but when you see it on track, it is very important when you come down to calculating in your brain. You're trying to do the trigonometry, the calculus of who will win this race. It's on our racers' minds, and it might be on your mind if you're watching there at home, because there is a big strategic difference here. It's not just can you get in the race car, can you drive it as quickly as you can. It's also comes down to planning how you are going to handle that pit stop, what you're going to do as far as fuel, tires, that whole situation. Very complicated to calculate. And as we come through the final 10 minutes of racing here on Spa-Francorchamps, it's been a really cool trip into not only the ACC universe, but also into a whole new ecosystem of drivers who've raced competitively in these cars, on this track, on this platform for years. So excited to see what their expertise can show us, and really can teach me, just kind of watching as a racing plebeian, to find out what and how we're supposed to handle this. Watching along with Mateus Machado, who comes through provisionally up top, but has yet to make that pit stop.
Yeah, he's driven well, has Machado. He's just been consistent, really. Nothing wrong, nothing too over excellent, maybe as some of the race leaders, but consistency is the name of the game when you have longer endurance races. This obviously wouldn't be considered an endurance race on a global motorsport scale, but in terms of AMX, it's the longest race we've ever done, or dare I say it's the longest race we've ever done. I might be completely wrong on that one, but he has driven well, still with a pit stop to make, so we'll see where he funnels out. But we saw the overcut work very well for Nogier, so we might still have a final shout in this race. This is the sole Ferrari that's now in the pit lane, as the front 2 pitters will funnel past him.
Yeah, coming through, Lozano, who has done very, very well this race. Let's see where he fits himself in. Can he make it up Ragnon in time? The answer is probably no. There's a speed limiter there for a reason, and so he will not be able to kind of get up a little bit of an advantage there, but chose that pit timing for a reason, serves it, and now there are only 2 unpitted racers left, and I think Junior is coming through for his.
Yeah, Junior it's actually the 2 BMWs who are leading, Machado and Junior, so we're going to see them pit fairly soon. We'll also probably see a battle between Zulhali and Nogier. Zulhali has been down the order all race because he made that early pit stop, so maybe we're not too sure of the Blue Steel Racing driver's pace. I mean, we're going to find out pretty soon, aren't we? Because he's in the battle for the race win. Thibaut Brevo, the man who was leading before the typical pit stop phase, is now 15 seconds off the battle for the race lead. Things went very wrong very quickly for the Luxembourger as Machado is in the pit.
Yeah, I could not call this if I tried. Really, though, I want to say, as we talked about earlier, our very first Malaysian racer, Imran, coming through and kind of impressing just a little bit. haven't really gotten a chance to watch a lot of his racing outside of seeing him here. This is his first time around, but as Machado will make his trip through the pits as the final racer to do so, we are about to get down to our final 7 minutes of racing, which is where we will finally see how these racers stack up against each other. And gotta say, it has been a pretty darn good race for his first time in AMX. So a lot to learn, a lot to think about, and going to be really exciting to see how this race finishes up.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be thoroughly exciting as we see Machado come into the pit lane. It'll be a long hold for him once again, but he doesn't have to put an awful lot of fuel in the car. And we'll just have to get a change of tyres, really. There's only 6 minutes left in the race, and yet you can see that's a fairly quick service by the BMW crew. So that now leaves Zuhali in the lead of this race, because Machado will just slowly funnel down the timing tower, as you can see. It's going to be a straight fight between Zuhali and Nogier for the race victory. The two McLaren drivers. I tell you what, Reed, I'm very looking forward to this one.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to get a quick update here on our timing tower to see exactly what is going to happen. So we enter into our final 5 minutes of regulation time here, just to kind of keep an eye on the gaps. While there might be a second in between Zuhali and Nogier, Prevost is a little bit further back, so maybe locked into that P3 spot. There might be a little bit of racing on down the order as Kevin, the other SDL Esports racer in P5, might have a line on Lozano, only a few tenths behind him. So there is still a little bit to race for as we close out this drive of Spa-Francorchamps. And we're sort of taking for granted, Evan, dare I say, the luxury of watching these professional racers race, and haven't really seen any dangerous spins or crashes or anything along those lines. So it really is truly a privilege to watch these guys execute lap after lap of incredible racing here at Spa.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Reed. It'll be a quiet evening for the stewards when it comes to judging this race. The closest to maybe all-around chaos we've seen was that Prevost move on Leon, or however it is pronounced, to this whole thing again. But it's been really clean. It's been excellent. Now, have we said that maybe 4.5 minutes too early? We'll find out when Nogier goes for a move on Zuhali. Yeah, I think it's been an excellent performance all around from these guys, and it's been a great first race. Hopefully, we can have a Titanic conclusion to it now.
A Titanic conclusion, meaning one of the cars is going to sink, Evan?
No, it means that Leonardo DiCaprio is going to fall in love with Thibaut Prevost. Sorry.
So you're saying we can fit
Spoiler
two
alert.
of these cars on a board, right? Neck and neck. Wait, am I watching this correctly? I'm guessing that we're passing each other. I don't know if we have complete regulations about whether or not the back markers are supposed to give way a little bit. But as we hop on board Kevin, he is having to navigate successfully, which he does almost effortlessly around the outside there.
Off for position. That's on Lozano. That's for position. That's the Ferrari who has just been overtaken.
Well, you're very lucky to see the timing tower update. I think mine might have been frozen a little bit. I'm trying to keep an eye on this, but I still haven't memorized all of our liveries. And for it to be that effortless, and at the end of the race, there's 3 minutes left, and we're already seeing positions being taken. I mean, Kevin, it must be absolutely dialed in the zone. 40 minutes of his best racing as he climbs up into P4.
Yeah, it was a great move, purely because of how absolute effortless it was. As one man who is also on the move is Thibaut Prevost. Last lap round, he set the quickest lap of the race so far. So that is an excellent job from him. He's cut in about 4 seconds on Nogier in the last couple of laps. But I don't think unless something happens, unless he puts a rocket ship in the back of that 720S, I think he's going to finish in 3rd place here. I don't think he's going to be able to catch the front two.
Yeah, I mean, rocket ships do exist, but are they on track with us tonight, Evan? I am not sure. It is about a 2-minute lap here, so 2 minutes left, and that means that we are coming down to the wire to find out who is going to finish where. Nogier 6 tenths back. Miracles do happen. And Lozano, after getting passed up there by Kevin, might be able to kind of do him back a little bit. I still don't have an update on Dvorak or Machado, so maybe I'm just a little bit out of the know here. But watching on board Imran Zuhaili, who comes through in P1, is just I did not expect it. Didn't see him battling up there really intensely at the beginning, but has executed a flawless race strategy and deserves his placement absolutely, if he is able to hold on to it for another minute and a half.
There's another quickest lap of the race for Prevo as well, so he is trying to bank in that extra prize money, certainly. I think this will be the last lap of the race. I'm not sure if the checker is going to come out after the bus stop chicane or after La Source, but I think it should be the last lap of the race because it's about a 2:18 minute lap here. It's certainly slower than qualifying, although we do have optimum track conditions. These cars are on older tyres, they're heavier, with heavier fuel, as I believe Dvorak has actually got a drive-through penalty, which is very unlucky for him to get this late in the race.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that, but as he drives through, that is, yeah, that's going to be rough this late in the race. How do you get that on the final minute? 1 minute left to go. Zuhaili in first, a minute back, or second back, we've got, second back, we've got Noger, Prevost, and Leon. Your top four right now with that drive-through means that Dvorak, unfortunately, will not be really in the conversation here, but still some tight gaps here out on the track. Doesn't appear to be enough to change it within 30 seconds, and so it is all gravy just watching our drivers execute a very just a beautiful race time here out on Spa. The GT3's gorgeous, and it has truly been a privilege, Evan, to watch these guys show us an absolute masterclass of racing on one of the most iconic tracks in the world.
Yes, it has been, and despite Noger having a monster middle and final sector, it is looking like Imran Zuhaili is going to come around the final couple of corners and take the first ACC win here in AMX around Spa-Francorchamps. He'll be elated with that one. It was an excellent tyre-saving performance. He made a really early pit stop and then just saved his tyres to the end, got the undercut on everyone else, and it was an excellent job. Well done for him. Here comes Thibaut Prevost to come home in third spot, and then it'll be Kevin Leon ahead of Lozano. Got that spot in the later stages of the race with about 3 minutes to go, and he'll take fourth. It is McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4, but it certainly was shuffled up from qualifying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a 40-minute race, right? So it does take a little bit more endurance than our normal 20-minute heats that we have in AMX Global League Season 4 for Prevost. He gets that third step of the podium, and he's got to be happy for that after fighting so hard so long. As we see more racers come through, we had Lozano come through. Dvorak, once again, was required to serve that last minute, almost literally last minute, stop-go penalty, and that's going to put him a little bit further back. But checkered flags have flown on half the field so far, and I don't foresee that changing for the rest of our racers as they cross the finish line one by one. Mora, who finishes next, and the rest of our racers updating that as they do. Nico Godoy coming through, maybe perhaps not actually representing McLaren Racing, unless I missed that announcement, but obviously quite a few McLarens started the race, and honestly quite a few of them are finishing. 4 McLarens in the top 4 is a pretty good race result for those guys, and might be a trend if we keep seeing these guys race in AMX League this season.
Yeah, I've just noticed I'm wearing a McLaren jumper as well, so they can all thank me for the excellent prediction when I woke up this morning. But that was a really good race.
Evan,
that was really enjoyable. Yeah, usually I'm known for completely cursing people on AMX, but it's the opposite way around for once. It's nice change.
Yeah, the Evan buff. Alive and well here as we do watch Dvorak come through after serving that penalty. It's going to put him on there, and some nice banter back and forth as we see everybody pull back in from whence they came to start to finish as they started our first Assetto Corsa Competizione race on Spa. 40 minutes of glory after a 20-minute qualifier for an hour of racing goodness for everybody out there, and I do hope everyone enjoyed watching this race today. getting it off the ground, and honestly, gotta say, very, very entertaining to watch, especially that pit stop, seeing how that affected our racers, the penalties coming through at some really stressful times for a few of them, and honestly, just the beautiful graphics showcasing not only the GT3s, but Spa-Francorchamps. And this is the way the cookie crumbles after all is said and done. It did take quite a bit of effort to finish this race, but 10 of our racers did put their times through the checkered flag, and it is our Malaysian racer Zuhaili Imran coming through in first place. McLaren number 12 with a time of 40.7864. Doge coming through along with his SDL teammate in second and fourth, respectively. With Thibault Prévost there in third place, an absolutely monstrous fight put in for that P3 podium finish in his 720S. Lot of the lone Ferrari driver, I want to say, for Mauricio Lozano, finishes in P5, so making that car look pretty good up there. And then the highest placing BMW M4 driver, Barrios, in P6. Dvorak might have finished higher, but did have that serve that penalty in his highest placing Mercedes, and in fact the only Mercedes on track with us today, so made that look good. And then Leo Mora, Godoy, Machado, and I guess Junior didn't manage to come through in the end. But wow, what a way to finish off our first race. And I got to say, I did not know what to expect. I'm obviously still learning things. So if you've got tips, tricks, or anything else, hit us up on our social media, which is very appropriately mentioned because it's going to flash down there at the bottom of the screen any second now. And in fact, I think we have the links below both of our streams on YouTube and Twitch. So wherever you're watching, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming out. And if you want to drop a follow or a subscription of any kind, we appreciate your support. We couldn't do it without you. And we'd love to have you check us out on not only our stream, but also social media. And if you want to get involved in our AMX Global League community, you can do so by joining the AMX Global Discord server, which you find either by Googling it or by checking out amxrace.com, which is also the place that you can sign up for any of our races, ACC, iRacing, GT. We've got 6 different classes of races this season and almost 70 races coming your way over the course of the next 3 months to give away $20,000 for this championship. So a lot on the line and a lot of races left to go, which means that we have to head out for a quick commercial break. And when we come back, it's Evan and I back again for some GTE action. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with AMX 10 coming up next.
We must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
Everyone else watching us, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stop right now because it's game time. We've got a GT10 or a AMX 10 GT race coming your way. There's our 7th of the season, which means there's plenty more. But today, it's GTs on Silverstone. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Zooming around the garage, the pit wall, so many iconic races on this track, and here to break down what is one of the closest tracks to him is Evan. How are you doing?
Hello, yeah, it's a little bit closer to home for me. We don't have many racing tracks in Ireland, so the closest circuits are the British ones. So we're here at Silverstone. It is a very intriguing circuit, another very famous circuit. If you were watching AMX 1 earlier, it was at Spa. Now we're at Silverstone, another famous circuit, mostly associated with Formula 1, but can cater for these GTE cars perfectly. Should be another good one here this evening.
Yeah, and these are GTEs, so maybe a little bit closer to home, as we've had quite a few races in these last season, this season, and we're going to be seeing quite a bit more in this GT Championship, so lots of racing left to go. We are returning to iRacing for this upcoming race, so if you guys appreciated our previous broadcast, a little bit of foray into the unknown, but we're back and shoving it around the track in 3 different sections: qualifiers, Heat 1, Heat 2. Getting back to normal a little bit if you want the old familiar feeling of kind of the way it's been going this season and last season and seasons before that. It's all that AMX goodness coming up in just a second as we break down what is about to happen in this AMX 10 race. This is a little bit of housekeeping. If you already know what's happening here, then just go focus on your race. Otherwise, then welcome. For the next 3 months, we are racing for $20,000 in a total of 68 races, about 10 of those in the books, 50 plus to go. The format is a 20-minute qualifier, 20-minute Heat 1, and then a 20-minute Heat 2, all of which have prize money attached to them with a top 15 reverse grid in between. It's a pretty cool format, lots of fun, lots of exciting races, and there is prizing for each one of them. Prizing up to $500. I'll be saying that a lot. $500. In order to race, we require you to turn on a camera somewhere around you. If you could point your housing security cams through the window at your rig, whatever you do, whatever that can join a Zoom call, and you can find the link to the video feed on the amxrace.com website, where you can also sign up to race with us. And when you win prize money in our races, we pay you out once a month in increments of $100 on Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays when you come to race with us. So, yeah, exciting to have another season coming up with even better races, racers, and all of the above. You can join them and us starting at 5:50 GMT. So if you're in or around Greenwich or that vertical line, then this is when the races are for you. Otherwise, you'll have to do some conversion math. But starting at 5:50 for AMX 1. And this race, AMX 10's, qualifying starts at 7:20 p.m. GMT as well. So if you don't want to do the calculating, the hard math, then it's right now. So that's when you should come qualify. When you qualify, you have the potential to win up to $30 for first place, $30 for Heat 1, $30 for Heat 2, with $4 on the line for the fastest lap in Heat 1 and 2. That means you can take home $98, almost $100, 1/5 of the total prize pool for this race, $500, as long as your minimum iRacing road rating is over 2,000. We should have a championship for over 9,000 iRating. And actually, I think we might be able to get a few drivers out there because we do have a whole host of some of the best drivers ever in the world racing with us in this championship. And here to take a look at the top 12 racers in AMX 10 is our leaderboard. Aaron Vasquez reclaiming that top spot in quite significant fashion after his races earlier. Very, very excited to see him not only back out here and doing well, but actually some really exciting things happening to Facundo Rago, who inches closer to Connor Healy in just a little bit in our previous championship, but it actually told me he's going to be racing potentially an AMX 10 coming up. Just wanted to shout him out as he was here yesterday. and his teammate Fabrizio Belziti rounding out the bottom of the field. But that battle for P1, not by $2. So much to race for. Aaron Vasquez, Guy Valero will be seeing them and a whole lot more. Kieran Harrison, one monster of a racer in P3, and we'll see if he can climb even further as he goes up 2 spots in the AMX 10 top 12. A lot of racing out there, so I don't have time to highlight everybody. But if you want to join them on the list, well, first of all, you got to be really freaking good. But it's going to take some time. So you got to race in a lot of races. And if you want to do that at a deep discount, you can enter one of our 2 promotions. The Early Bird D3 promotion says if you sign up for the race 3 days or more ahead of time, you get 30% off. 50% off if you buy one of our season tickets for one of the 6 championships, including AMX GT Championship. 50% off. Yeah. So amxrace.com, click the season tickets link at the top, and then you too can get into this and many more races at amxrace.com. All right, that's going to do it for the housekeeping. It's time to talk about what and where we're racing. Take it away, Evan.
Yes, it is the fabulous Silverstone circuit located across 2 counties in the United Kingdom, Buckingham, Northamptonshire, opened in 1958 and is on the site of the old RAF Silverstone, former World War II Royal Air Force bomber station. It is a 5.891 kilometre circuit, 3.661 miles, with some fabulous corners involved in it. It's about 40 gear changes a lap in a Formula 1 car. Probably be a little bit more than that here today in a GTE, but we'll find out about that later. The longest straight on the circuit is 770 metres. Not as long as maybe some of your more global circuits, but it has plenty of overtaking opportunities. It also was home of the first use of the turbo engine. That was in 1977 by the fabulous Jean-Pierre Jabouille. And then, of course, our cars for this evening. It is the GTE cars, which we have seen at Le Mans in the World Endurance Championship in the past. Very similar, of course, to your GT3 cars and your GTD cars. They range from about 530 to 568 brake horsepower, rear wheel driven, of course. It is a 6-speed sequential gearbox in the majority of them. And if you are intrigued to what the difference is between a GTE car and a GTD car, the GTE cars are considered more performance cars. You can tune more of them set to a racetrack, where the GT3 cars will be based off, for example, your road cars. There is quite a few variations of GTE cars here this evening. You have your Ferraris, your Corvettes, and your Fords, which we'll be seeing out on track in a matter of moments.
Great breakdown, Evan, as always. And if you want to take us through a lap here at Silverstone, I think we might be able to hop on board with some of the best racers that we've got to show us how to do it. And I'm sure you might have been out here on Silverstone virtually a few times before also.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently on the Wellington Straight down towards turn number 6 of Brooklands. This is a tricky left-hander. We're currently on board with Connor Nixon in towards the right-hander of Luffield. Very crucial to get a good exit out of Luffield here, because this is where you got to put the power down and head down the old Formula 1 start-finish straight. It's flat-out through Woodcut in pretty much every Formula or pretty much every car. Is that Connor Nixon taking a hand off the wheel while on a hot lap? That might not be encouraged. But right-hander at the Cops corner, a fabulous corner on every single car. It is such a high-speed curve. And then, speaking of more high-speed curves, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, 10, then 11, flicking through here, turn number 12, this is Beckett's, and then in towards turn number 13 and 14, which are the Chapel curves. It's called Chapel curve, but technically 2 corners. Then it's the longest straight, as we were saying, Hangar Straight, 770 metres to be exact, down towards the right-hander of Stowe corner. This is a very tricky corner, but big overtaking opportunities if you can nail your braking through here, as we can see Connor Nixon just riding that curve and then riding one on the outside here as well. Got to be careful of your track limits, as actually he heads into the pit lane. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to finish the lap as he heads into the pit lane. Another quick fact about the pit lane is it's actually a slower speed limit than most global circuits. It is about 10 kilometers, give or take, slower than the rest of your world circuits, I suppose.
Well, great fun fact. Also, fun fact, you have to race on the track. Glad we got a chance to state that objectively. for everybody else watching out there. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the racers and the racing that happens here in AMX, this championship is open to anyone. You can just sign up and join. But the way it looks is like it's one of those, invitation-only championships, because we have some absolute monsters in the iRacing community. Some black tags, pro licenses out there. World Championship participant Gael Valero up there with Kieran Harrison, one of, if not the highest-rated Brit in AMX this season. The countryman to Gael Valero, Corentin Guinness, who is a multiple-time race winner, and indeed the AMX 10 champion from last season, joins us in P3. Matteo, new to this championship, but with 10K iRating himself, might find himself at home in the top 5. Laynat also new this season, but still very, very skilled there. And, of course, the guy that recently had first place in the AMX 10 Championship taken away from him, Aaron Vasquez, an 11K iRacing racer for Drago Esports, finds himself in P6 provisionally right now, but, of course, still 8 minutes left to throw down some of the fastest laps you will ever see out here on Silverstone.
Yeah, we're looking at Kieran Harrison, who is in the 21 BMW. Home race for Kieran, of course. Not something that he can say too often with variety of tracks provided in AMX, but he is at home here in Silverstone, which he'll be happy about. There's about a tenth of a second between himself and Gael Valero. Gael, once again, going for a Ford GTE car. Whenever we see GT3s, or maybe sometimes even GT4s, depending on what cars are available, we see him often go for the Ford. He likes that sort of a car. In the GT3s, it is typically known to be a bit of a heavier car, but of course, as we said, GTEs can be tuned a little bit more as up. A bit of an off-road excursion for Kieran Harrison. So far, though, qualifying very, very close. 0.2 of a second separates Gael and Aaron Vasquez, and that's from 1st to 6th. So really, really a good standard of racing here so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, and absolutely a similar standard of racing to what you might expect if you head out onto this track yourself, if you have the means to do so. Then this is probably what your experience is going to look like, too. Because if you're checking out lap times for GTEs, at least historically speaking, it was Davide Ringon who set the current lap record for Silverstone in his Ferrari GT Evo. It's exactly comparable to what you see here, about a 155.7 out there, 7.62. So even some faster times than that, but that is absolutely the upper limit. And obviously our sim racer is really pushing the upper limit of what's possible out on Silverstone in these GTEs. And when it comes to, the Ferrari being fastest in real life, we actually have quite a few different choices here tonight. But by and large, everybody's going to be racing the Porsches. Seems to be there's a French term for like the, not nom de plume. It's like the one that everybody uses. But currently, first place is going to go to Ford, with third also the choice for both Frenchmen, Gael Valero and Corentin Guinness, provisionally. So, Ford's kind of get a bad rep in some of their other offerings, but for GTEs, currently P1 and 3.
Yeah, there was a whole movie made about how Ford is better than Ferrari. So, Gael Valero and Corentin Guinness are the new version of that, as they are surrounding the BMW of Kieran Harrison. A lot of Porsches here this evening. The Porsche's kind of, I don't want to say it's the boring choice, but it is. It's the safest choice. Porsche's usually always good in a GT3 or a GTE category. They've won Le Mans so many times in God knows how many categories, and they've been well up there in the World Endurance Championship. Le Mans this year, though, or last year I should say, 2023, in the GTE category, was actually won by Corvette. And the top Corvette here this evening is Blainat, of course, in 5th position. So it'll be interesting to see how the Corvettes adapt to this Silverstone circuit, because, look, it's very different to other tracks GTEs race at. Of course, the World Endurance Championship has been here to Silverstone in the past, doesn't come here in a modern day championship. But, look, these cars, they're race cars. They can kind of adapt to anywhere. It'll be interesting to see which one adapts best.
Yep, and it's not just about the cars adapting. Obviously, the drivers do have a little bit of adapting left to do themselves, but they only have 5 minutes left to do it. And we are seeing some timing changes. Avando climbing up a little bit as the highest placing American driver. And he doesn't have too much competition down there, but actually, we might see a few more names pop up. Simon Demori popping up into 17th. Not good enough for the reverse grid. And in case you're watching us you're still watching us from our previous AMX 1 race, there will be a reverse grid happening immediately after qualifying. So that 15th place, you might not think that 15th is a very coveted place to finish, but actually it gets you the reverse grid coming through into heat number 1. So absolutely, if you're down there, P16, 17, you are trying just barely to get into a P15. Very important as we see Soriano improve coming through. And this is a 2-minute lap, so you only have maybe 1, maybe 2 left in the tank. We'll see how many of our racers are able to really improve their time now as we enter the hinterland of qualifying.
Yeah, we're into the final stages. This is when the track ramps up. Drivers have to put in their best laps, and they will be praying that nothing goes wrong. There's no one blocking them, as they do hope to put in the best time potentially of the evening, because usually your race times are a little bit slower. We are looking at Soriano is currently in 6th position in the 01 car, as that is it's always a brave choice to pick number 1, isn't it? Because usually 1 is associated with the best. So if you choose number 1 and you're not the best, well, you might have your tail between your legs. But Soriano doing a decent job behind his fellow Argentinian, and extremely close to his fellow Argentinian on the timing tower, both doing 55.7s. There is an improvement there for another Argentinian, and there's Aguiar, who goes to 10th spot.
Yeah, I think he improved like 6 places, so big move there to hit into the top 10. It's also going to mean a better position when he gets reverse gridded, if that is indeed his final time. As we close in on the 2-minute marker, racers starting their lap will be able to have another shot. Others maybe not quite so lucky. And we are actually seeing quite a few racers head across the finish line, although there are 2 painted on the ground, so I always get confused when I just glance down. So I'm gonna have to work on that. Evan, you might have to correct me if I say something a little bit stupid.
As in 2 finish lines on the track map?
Oh, just depending. It's because I guess the old one a while back was slightly different than where we're at today. So I'm just trying to.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, keep myself oriented.
No, you were spot on. You got you got the right start line.
Okay, all right,
still
sick.
good up for now.
Look, Evan, some days you roll out of bed and the bare minimum is just what you're striving for. So, look, I feel like I might have something in common with a few of our racers, especially those striving to do the bare minimum here. Whoa! That is not where you're going. Mateo, trying to get out of provisional P4, will find himself into the wall and out of contention for any of those provisional podium spots. 1 minute left in qualifiers, so let's see who's going to come across and try to contest. Gael Valero up there with a 1:55.484. Spoiler alert, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to do that, but there are some hot laps down there. You're seeing some green sectors across the board. Nico Wierzbicki is trying to make his way up the standings as he finds himself P20. Not good enough to get reverse gridded here, so clearly a level of comfort that exists for his Drago Racing teammate Aaron Vasquez that he is still trying to work on just a little bit climbing up there. And there's 20 seconds left in qualifier, so final times coming through. Peter Zuba doing a 5-place improvement to P10, outdoing Aguilar, who qualified up there just a few minutes earlier. Final laps here for, I want to say that's Gael Valero as we hop on board with him, but I think it's a little bit hard to improve on perfection. The fastest lap presumably perpetually is his, and he really does have this race track absolutely dialed in. So he will finish in P1 after a kind of tense final moments there in qualifying. And of course, he is your session winner from Ben Q. Gael Valero up there in P1 representing Apex Racing Team. Below him, the simrc.de. Teammates of Karen Harrison and Quarantine Guinness. Obviously, Karen has probably raced here just quite a few times. Quarantine in P3 rounds out your podium. Mateo, Blanat, Soriano, Rico up there, and Aaron Vasquez a little bit uncharacteristically low after some of his really good performances out here on this trick. Might be feeling the strength of field a little bit because it is absolutely huge for today's race. And, kind of on down the roster, we have Jackson Asenge and Gaston Calavi, great South American racers who usually qualify quite a bit higher. We'll see if they can improve. And actually, even below this in the standings, we've got Simon Demore and Nico Wierzbicki, who also do quite well, uncharacteristically far down the podium. With Connor Nixon, a guy I was literally commentating with yesterday, calls me up. He's like, "Hey, can I race today?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sign up." And so he's here on the field, ready to go to get started with our second race of the night, heat number 1 here in AMX 10, the pinnacle of competition in this global championship. So on the board, ready to go, ready to get started with our rolling start, get everything warmed up, fired up, and ready to race for heat number 1 coming up.
Yes, another big thing to comment was Jackson Versenje got onto the front row for the reverse grid, literally in the last second of qualifying, so an excellent job for him. And another thing Reed hasn't mentioned, I'm surprised he didn't, the man standing first for this race is an American. Boris Ovando is going to start on pole. His team is Texas. Can you get more American than that? Then it's Versenje, of course, the Canaan Esports Brazil team, Fabio Zamperlini, Roman Pascicucci, and then it is Guiar, and then it is Pedro Zuba, who got up there as well, and Daniel Antonez, Aaron Vasquez, Ricardo Rico, and Tobias Soriano, who will round out the top 10 here. We're going to get going racing pretty quickly as they head through the chicanes. Just looking at the grid once more as they head down through it. It is going to be Ovando and Jackson Versenje who are going to start the race here as we go racing at Silverstone. Great start for Boris to lead us away across the line. Versenje maybe looking for the move in towards the first corner. He is going to look for the move in towards the first corner. That's a cracking move from Jackson Versenje to take the race lead here at Silverstone for the first of 2 in these GTE machinery. It's looking like the 2 Argentines are going to go side by side in the background as well. It seems like Antonez getting the job done on Petr Suba there. That's a car round. That's Boris. That is Boris Ovando who goes round heading into the loop circuit of the section. Disastrous for the American.
And more than that, there's a wall of steel in front of him. Ovando can't get back on track safely, has now rejoined, but is way back there. We see another all this time it's Aguilar and Atunez.
Yeah, that's the number 28 Porsche that's gone off the circuit. Horrible, horrible for him as he falls down the order. There's still 3 wide in the background here. This is what happens when you put about 24 cars in a fairly close and compact circuit. Inez and Harrison both making spaces into the top 10. Kieran Harrison up 5 spots. There's Martin Inez looking for the move on Blanat. That is now for 7th spot as we look at the number 4 Porsche of Pedro Dean. Here in your picture-in-picture, we have a replay of that incident. You can just see a bit over optimistic, and that ironically is Aguiar, who was off the track himself 2 corners later. So disastrous start for those starting at the front.
Yeah, really kind of a mixed blessing and curse. The big winner through all of that is, like you said, the last second qualifying Brazilian racer, Jackson Asenge, finds himself in first place by a mile. Not quite, it's a little bit over a second, but the lead is still very significant. So he'll be out first, and you can just barely see him periodically at the very, very front on your screen. Peter Zuba showing us what the middle field looks like. Quarantine Guinness right behind him, absolutely trying to make a big move as we come along. A lot of liveries up here, some nice representation there, but for the most part, it is all about Peter Zuba with Guinness, Blanat, Harrison, all looking to pass as fast as you can possibly imagine. So going to be exciting to see how this works after the reverse grid, to once again keep an eye on how much a lot of these guys are climbing. And as we watch the moves right here, it's Aaron Vasquez trying to defend against Rico and Pascucci. Rico makes it past Pascucci, a new competitor trying to take on the Drago Racing P2 driver. Now back down to Soriano, who is doing devastating battle with Gael Valero, Blanat front, Harrison right behind. He is sandwiched and may not be able to hold on there because he has some absolute legends all the way around him. Yeah,
great bit of racing there between Aaron Vasquez and Pascucci, who were side by side for a good portion of the first sector, and they're falling into line now, and Vasquez is looking to extend his championship lead by catching up to Jackson Versenje. Gael Valero getting past Blanad, as you can see, almost. They Ford go side by side with a Porsche in towards Copse Corner, but that's not the case. As Reed was saying, a lot of pink liveries battling for the race win here. They are doing fantastic in that Porsche car. It'll be intriguing to see. Is it going to be mostly the Porsches that come near the front? Are those cars going to be the ones that are quickest? But look, we'll find out in a couple of laps. We're on board with Matteo here. He's going to look for the move, maybe in towards Stork Corner. Last of the late breakers for Matteo. Sticks it up the inside of Pascucci, and that is a brilliant, brilliant move. Number 22, he's now up to 4th place. Now wants to try and catch Ricardo Rico.
Yeah, Rico is absolutely in the mix of all of this. He really is kind of the guy doing battle with Vasquez, who, if you let him, will get way out. There's another fastest lap set by Jackson Versenje, and that's why you see him keep pulling away. Now 2-second gap between him and Vasquez. Watching Matteo, who might look for a move here onto Rico. He's got to make it through the chicanes first. He gets a good exit, and so won't be able to make it just yet, but a couple more corners, and we might see him doing epic battle up there in the back. We've got the hometown hero, Harrison, trying to make up places. He's made up 3 already, but he's got a lot of fast racers behind him. Wierzbicki and Connor Nixon both doing some big drives. We might be talking about them in a little bit as we hop on board with Blanat battling against Soriano. I guess Soriano's the one doing the battling. He comes alongside. Whoa, no! The wheel stops him dead in his path. He unfortunately takes Blanat out of there. He does do a nice save, and a dangerous rejoin sends, I guess that's Wierzbicki off the track around the wrong way, spins through the smoke, but has to hit the brakes to not run into the rest of the racers on track, all the way back down at P23. Unfortunate little collision-y thing, getting the best of the Polish racer now in the back field.
Yeah, that was a very unsafe rejoin, and I think that will probably be penalty worthy because he wasn't really looking on who he was coming back on track alongside with, just drove onto the circuit. Very unfortunate for Blanat. He's not had the cleanest of races. I'm not necessarily saying it's all his fault, but he's just been involved in a few scraps here and there and a few bits of damage on his car. He's down at 15th though, so he can still soldier on and maybe try and get a good result. Here is a move from Petr Zuba up the inside of Pascucci, who has lost a couple of spots now towards this corner, but he's going to try a switchback manoeuvre. Allow the outside line down towards the Vale chicane. Let's wait and see who's going to come out on top. Petr Zuba. Zuba getting the job done in very Ferrari looking forward.
Yes, I like how independent of our stewardry, yeah, that guy just ran back on the track. He's inside the car, but it was almost like he jumped out and was hopping around on the asphalt himself. So we're going to check out Gael Valero, who has climbed all the way up 7 spots into P8, looking for a P7, coming around the inside. Don't run into him. Oh, you know how that goes. Both racers able to keep it pointed forward, but it is in the end Pascucci just really scooting himself up into P8, or into P7, rather, maintaining that position against the onslaught of Gael Valero, who is really coming back at it again, trying to do it around the outside, now trying to keep it forward. Yes, he does, but unable to overtake. He's still looking, he's still considering that. I think he does have the pace. Checking out his lap times, you can see he's doing a 1:56.4, almost half a second faster than the driver in front of him.
Yes, as you can see, both the opponents in the opponent cam, as you see, wow, quick flick of the wheel and off the circuit. That is Pascucci, who was off and into the wall before Copse Corner. He was, taking on towards Stowe, but it is Copse Corner that will send the number 6 off the track. Bit of a weird one, Matt. Maybe a little bit of net code at play. I'm not awfully too sure on what happened there, but certainly Pascucci is off the circuit and is down to 14th.
Whoa, this is some crazy racing. You really have to watch out, not only for yourself, but for the racers around you. That is a rough one. On board with Soriano is now defending against Kieran Harrison, who is absolutely schmoving behind him, trying to find an angle in after the curve. He is on pace to get that done in any second now. This lap, fingers crossed, you see another move from Kieran, who has had a monster performance so far. He's on a plus 8, 9? Oh no, it's Pascucci who might have taken a trip out to the pit lane. He'll be dropping down and unfortunately out after his earlier altercation. Man, how the mighty have fallen. It's going to promote everybody else behind him and might make things a little bit easier up there at the front.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there for Pascucci as he is out of this. It was all big launch from Kieran Harrison up the inside in towards the loop section on Soriano. And he's going to get that one done, I believe. Yes, great move from Kieran Harrison. He's up to 8th position now and chasing down the Frenchman of Gael Valero. A little bit of a weave there from Soriano. The back name said, hey, you can't do a move like that. You got to let me through. But I don't think Harrison will. As you see the picture-in-picture, absolutely locked in here in his BMW. Wants to get a good result. And so far he's doing that because he is one of our biggest gainers in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Other names in that same category, Gael Valero, and actually Aaron Vasquez had a monster start to claim that P2. He's actually closed over 8/10 to Jackson Asenge, who's still up there in P1 by a little bit. Quarantine Guinness making that move on Mateo, who I think might have had a little bit of an oopsie. Mateo now falling down the field faster than a stone on Earth. Or anywhere else. I don't know. Stones fall. That's what they do, guys. Connor Dixon.
A stone through water because it sinks.
Yes. Yes. Excellent continuance of what was perhaps a doomed metaphor from the very beginning. Nice to see Connor Nixon on a +9 drive. I'm just moving on. All the way up into V12. A little bit biased after getting to know Connor on the commentary box earlier on. And for a guy who mostly races supercars, he's finding himself pretty at home here in the GTEs coming up to P12. And himself, in fact, leaning in forward, perhaps a little bit happy to see such a good performance, although is seemingly struggling a little bit now that he's found himself in a much more competitive section of the race.
It looked like he was falling asleep for a second there. I know he wasn't. He was just leading to see maybe the apex, but I was getting a bit concerned there for Connor. I thought we might have seen his car go straight on. As they say, if you're feeling tired while driving, it's some advice for anyone who might do long-haul driving. Just stop, get yourself a coffee and have a relaxer. But Connor Nixon, unfortunately, cannot do that because he's in a very competitive race here in 12th position.
Yeah, for all of you Euro Truck Simulator 2 racers, you definitely want to make sure that you keep the wise words of Evan in your heads. Make sure to take some pit stops there, guys. Also, feel a need to mention the ATS, the American Truck Simulator Championship out there. You guys might also need to get some coffee along with you. Now we're on board with Ricardo Rico. My favorite driver. He is up in P3. Oh no, I have so many favorite drivers. It changes perpetually. It's like the Schrodinger's favorite. It's the best, but also simultaneously the best. But that unmakes the other best the best. It's not the best anymore. Either way, big fan. Up into P3, he passes Quarantine Guinness. That's crazy to me. Really impressive driving. And honestly, I was busy watching the rest of the really close racing down below. While we were on board with Connor Nixon, everything changed. One man up into P3, past some monsters of the game. Quarantine, you can see, trying to get that back, seemingly also as surprised as we were to see Rico just launch it up past him, and now a lot to get done for the Frenchman who seemingly is hard at work making it happen. A little bit of a wider line there, but he gets a closer, tighter exit, hits the throttle, and might have an opportunity here. He doesn't really have to worry about anything behind him. Smooth sailing, as Mateo is sort of the gatekeeper of the top 5. Action down the rostrum is Gael Valero in P7, trying for P6 over Zuba. We also have Antunes, after a little bit of a dust up earlier, trying to do exactly the same, but right now, honestly, all eyes glued to Ricardo Rico in P3, with Guinness absolutely trying to take the paint off the back of his bumper.
Yes, Guinness is probably not used to being overtaken in these reverse grid races. He likes to cut through the field himself, and you can see Ricciardo running a little bit wide through Copse Corner. He's got a light yellow Ferrari bearing down on his gearbox. He wants to stay ahead and stick with his pink Porsche in front. Guy Valero is looking to go battling here with Kieran Harrison, or maybe not looking to, but Kieran Harrison certainly is, because that would be a position gain for him. These two are piling the pressure on Petr Zuba and might be able to have a go down towards the right-hander of Stowe Corner. A little bit too far back for now, but good races from all these guys. Petr started in 6th, stayed in 6th. Guy Valero's up 8 spots, and Kieran Harrison up to 6. So very strong performances from a lot of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only going to get stronger. We have Heat 2 coming up after this, but obviously the preface important for getting your grid position decided for the next one. Quarantine very solidly in that P4 spot, but wants a little bit more, and he is coming up on Ricardo in the background, his French compatriot coming up through Petr Zuba. Battle of the Fords there between Zuba and Valero, and a little bit of a lockup through the corner. That is going to make it even more difficult for Valero. It keeps it moving forward. I didn't catch who locked up there, but it definitely tightens the field up.
Yes, it does. Very close field here after 8 laps of Silverstone. We're on the lap counter today because, of course, that is pretty much equal to 20 minutes. It's 2-minute laps. 2 times 10 is 20. There's your maths done for the day. As one intriguing thing, we saw the 2 Fords near the top in qualifying. The current leader car is a Porsche. 2nd place is a Porsche. 3rd place is a Porsche. So Porsche, the in quotation marks safe choice, as Irishmen call it during qualifying, is the correct choice so far here today. But Inez and Zuba are looking to change that, as well as Guy Valero. It seems like the Porsche is just better for overtaking.
Yeah, I mean, it does really have an edge there. You got to go all the way down to P8 to get something other than a Ford or a Porsche. Kieran Harrison running the BMW today, and of course the Corvette of Tobias Soriano bringing up P9. I want to mention Tobias because he jumped 8 places from 19th to 12th in the AMX standings after an absolutely monster race in AMX 10 yesterday. I got a chance to interview him. Really, really cool guy. And a lot of experience behind what is an absolute threat, a menace out on the track. So I'm going to keep an eye on Soriano as he is attempting to hold on to that P9. He's got a little bit of a gap behind him. So we get a chance to watch him only when it comes down to the context of Kieran Harrison. He was on a +6 behind Guile Valero. They've been kind of buddy systeming for a while. A lot of action still to race here as we near our white flag coming up. Harrison on Valero. We've seen this battle time and time again. These guys seemingly towards the top of just about every single race. And is that moving over for him? I don't know if that was a gesture of kindness or if it's a great move from Harrison, passing up Valero into P7.
And here comes Guile Valero back on the attack to get back past Kieran Harrison into the left-hander at Brooklands. Harrison going to try the long way around the outside. He's got the much more dominant car physically, I suppose you could say. The BMW larger than the Ford, but the Ford very quick out of the corners. And Guile Valero is going to try and use that and capitalise on it. But Harrison for now is ahead. Great bit of driving from him into the loop. That's been his overtaking point of choice for this evening, and produces a great move in there once again.
Kieran still defending, but seems like he has stamped his name on that P7. The gap to Zuba quite significant, but they both have their eyes set on it. One more lap to go with that timer flipping over here in just a second. Barney's out on track. He's got his white flag ready to go, and we'll see that wave here in just a minute. Valero on Kieran, but we also have Rico racing for P2. I kind of thought Vasquez was going to disappear into the distance, a little bit like Senjay up top, but the field, the top 4 is kind of accordioned back on itself. The slinky of justice contracting as it does. So, yeah, anything can absolutely happen as the white flag waves and we go around the track for our final time in Heat 1 before we do it all over again after a reverse grid. So if you want to make your position here count, Now is the time. Guinness, Rico, both 2-3 tenths behind their, I guess everybody on track. Oh, and it is a huge lockup there. Vasquez tumbles. Rico, the aggressor, the advantageous position his. He's up into P2. Vasquez down right next to Guinness, who takes him over like it's nothing. Side by side they go. Guinness wants that freebie. Vasquez with a lockup, seemingly costing him 2 places.
And that's probably saved Jackson Resenje as well. Aaron Vasquez was clawing in on the Brazilian, was looking to maybe take the win here in heat number 1. Big lockup in towards turn number 3. And that has cost him a spot to Ricardo Rico and Quarantine Guinness, who is now up to 3rd and splits the Porsche dominance at the top. There is now Porsche Ford as opposed to Porsche, as Senjay is probably going to take this one home, bearing any mistakes, but we didn't think Aaron Vasquez could make a mistake, could we? And he's absolutely done that. Guinness going to finish on the podium as well. After taking 10 places in this race, he'll pick up a nice prize of $18 in this one. But with Senjay, a little bit of weaving down towards the corner. As Guinness wants more. Guinness, oh no, there's problems here for Rico. Rico has lost 2 spots on the last straight. Maybe fuel issues, maybe some problems with his physical technology, but Ricardo Rico has slipped off the podium in the dying embers of Heat 1 here in Silverstone. Jackson Resenje put in the clutch quali lap. They'll take a clutch win here in Silverstone. And it'll be Guinness who comes home 2nd and Aaron Vasquez in 3rd. Kyle Valero losing a spot to Kieran Harrison on the last lap as well. Wow, great racing in Silverstone.
Yeah, glad you highlighted Harrison, who makes up a place at the last seconds. We actually have a little bit of racing down below from Chico, who might overtake Aguilar, because that P15 is very, very important. So there's a lot to race for. Down bottom, Reales does them both at the line. Holy cow, Reales gets the reverse grid over Chico and Aguilar to claim that P15 spot. Actually, quite a bit changing up there at the last second. Almost just and maybe even more as impactful as Resenje taking that dominant win was the race for the reverse grid P1. Wow, I didn't expect to see that, but really just racing up and down the grid. So many intense moments there in the final lap as I think Aaron Vasquez has, had things giveth and taketh away from him. I thought a P2 was in the forecast. He slips down to P4 and is about to lose it all after that lockup. Recovers to a P3 finish on the podium. Really, really good. Hopefully portent for our Heat 2 to come.
Yeah, there was a couple of cars actually who slowed down on that last lap. We saw Ricardo Rico being one of them, but of course Jackson Resenje is your BenQ session winner, as you can see in the top left. And it is Guinness in 2nd, Aaron Vasquez in 3rd, and Ricardo Rico is in 4th position. Then we have Mateo, Harrison, Valero, Zuba, Soriano, and Pedro Dean, Gaston Galhavi, Connor Nixon, Juan Belnat, Marcelo Reales, and Martin Chico, who start on pole for this 2nd round. Very, very exciting race, and this one should be even better.
Yeah, that's right. We are going to scroll down just to see a whole host of some of the best racers that we've got. Fabio Zamperlini there in Heat 24 might have a big run if we watch that. And we're about to go racing in Heat number 2, a rolling start to get things warmed up as sort of the calm before the storm is about to kick off here for our 2nd race of the night on Silverstone. Our drivers have had some experience. They felt out their competition and are ready to go here as we have a very, very short pace lap to get things warmed up and get started for Heat number 2. Cannot wait to see how things transpire as we get ready to go. Oh, I actually thought they had already started there, but catch up. Gotta shrink up the field here because the engines are about to hit full blast. Chico in front, Blanat, Reales, Nixon, Connor reverse gridded way up there towards the top, so we're not going to talk to him just yet, but oh my, we've got perhaps some wobbling up there at the top. We'll see who the biggest winners are after already our first off track. It's Pedro Dean tumbling down the order. few more lockups around what is one of the scariest corners here on track. Soriano struggles to keep it pointed forward. Dean recovering, keeping him there, but it's Gaio Valero and Vasquez both off the track.
Oh, it was destined for chaos, going 3 wide through the loop. Gaio Valero has been, unfortunately, the man who's lost out the most from that one. He's fallen down way down the order to almost last place, I'd imagine. But a great start from Chico to take the race lead. Got a crazy jump on the rest of the field. And it's now Juan Belnat's responsibility to try and catch him. Then it is Reales, Nixon, Colhavi, Serrano, Mateo, Zuba, Rico, Ganez, as we see Quarantine Ganez trying to get past Ricardo Rico in towards Cops Corner. Oh, there's a car gone off there. That is Ricardo Rico. That is Rico gone off there. There's another man gone off as well, possibly. And yeah, we saw Ganez and Rico going side by side there. Now we see Rico in the gravel. Hectic opening lap.
Yeah, I can't believe Ganez is still racing there. He is absolutely, I don't know, clutching the pearls that he has left. Vasquez recovering. He's back on track and improving in P20. Might have a big recovery there. Some real T-bone action there, sending Gaio Valero absolutely spinning as we see another driver. I think it's also Pedro Dean having potentially another incident there towards the back. State battling Wierzbicki back in the back too, as we hop on board with Connor Nixon, who is finding himself quite well up there in P4. The reverse grid pretty kind to him, but he does have to defend against the climbers behind him. Mateo on a +5, Calabi closing, and Soriano really trying to get himself up there into the top 5 as well. So much competition, P1 and 2. The gatekeeping Connor Nixon in P4, and everyone else behind him just absolutely doing the same racing they always have since the start. Mateo, Kulhavi closing right behind him. Side by side they go, and Kulhavi has the pace. He does, Mateo, and now we're up at the front as Blanat might have a move here on Chico.
Yes, it is tight battling at the front of this field between Mark Chico and Juan Belnat. As we see Juan in the picture on your bottom left-hand corner. The number 89 Ford is, or sorry, Corvette, apologies, is piling the pressure on. That Corvette absolutely sounds beautiful. Just to clarify, if you're at home, I'd say you are enjoying that one, but it is Corvette, Ferrari. In front of this field, complete opposite to what we saw last time. Connor Nixon, our friend of the show, is the top Porsche in this one. So complete swap round, but we are still waiting to see the climbers cut through the field, such as Ganez, Resenge, and Kieran Harrison.
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out. Martin Chico barely at the end of that race qualified for the reverse grid and really did an excellent job representing himself there. Gets the reverse grid into P1, now overtaken by Blanat. But Martin Chico, 3.7K iRating, is an up-and-coming driver and showing that when he gets the opportunity, he's pretty darn fast, holding his own in the top 5 for now, through 2 and now 3 laps of racing out here on Silverstone. So doing a great job holding on to that and potentially even retaking it as he closes the distance ever so slightly on Blanat in the lead.
Problems for Kieran Harrison. He just pulled off to the right-hand side of the straight and is now losing positions and time. He lost to Antonez Aguiar, now has lost to Simon Demori, as that's Connor Nixon. Gone round, heading in towards turn number 3. Very disappointing for a man who's having such a strong race, as almost was collected. It is now an Argentine 1, 2, 3, but that could very much change as Mateo is looking to get past Reales with 3rd position. Unfortunately there for Connor Nixon. Oh, big move for Mateo. Lunge down the inside. That's an excellent bit of racing there for Mateo. He's up onto the podium again. There's actually a bit of a noise as well from Soriano. And, well, yeah, wide goes Reales.
Yeah, oh my God, Ganez, the big winner out of all of this chaos in the front of the pack, brings Ganez 1 place higher into the top 5.
Yeah, Ganez very opportunistic as ever. That's how he won AMX 10 last year, by taking big opportunities that were granted to him. He's taken another one here in Silverstone and is now up to 5th place. Fantastic from the Frenchman climbing through the field. Gained about 10 spots last race in Heat 1. He's already got 9 here running on the 3rd lap, so you can never count out Ganez, but more emphasis on that today as we see one of the BMWs, that is Gaston Kilhavy, looking for a move on Reales.
That's right. Guinness has got himself all the way up here, and now Chaos follows him into the top 5. Reales, Calabi, and Zuba. Really tight pack there as we see Vasquez. He's pulled himself out of the doldrums. He's back on the climb through the grid too. So much to focus on. I can't believe we're showing you as much action as we can on board now with Gaston Calavi up behind Reales. A top 5 man. You have to be an absolute god gamer. The best of the racers struggling so much to make it past Quarantine Guinness, who's on a +9 drive into that spot. Zuba, Hazenje, Calavi, and Reales racing right next to each other as Zuba closes in on the back bumper of the Argentine in front of him in the BMW versus the Ford. Zuba on your screen right there, and you can see it's almost like he's I don't know, in traffic. And I guess that's what you could consider this. Come on, guys, move over. The stoplight hasn't turned red yet. We still have over half the race left to go, but the action here is absolutely as intense as when the race started. These guys don't know they can chill out a little bit because it is non-stop racing here in the midfield with Zuba. I guess keeping his line pretty solid, but seemingly having some difficulty dealing with Calavi in front.
Yeah, he is having a little bit of difficulty there, but it is so close up the front of the field, isn't it? It is super exciting as we look at Inez once again looking to get past Soriano. Inez sometimes makes moves look easy, but this one is proving difficult to put into that top 4 as we now see the pair of them at the bottom of your screen. Let's see, is there going to be an avenue of opportunity potentially present itself towards the right-hander of Stowe? No, I don't think he's close enough here unless he was really brave on the brakes. You can't go heavy on the brakes in these cars. They have a very decent braking system, but I think even for Inez's standards, that would have been a little bit too silly.
Yes, no silliness here on track. This is super serial all the time. Hazenje Zuba, back and forth, side by side. That was a race there for a second. Now Hazenje's going for another move. At the same time, we can't stop watching Guinness because he is still looking for Soriano to climb past his take. And now, side by side there for a second. The brakes get tapped, and a little bit of a check on Hazenje there at lap 5. Aguilar also sharking around, seeing if he can make his way past the Brazilian racer there, but man, Jackson does not want to be stuck here in the top 10. He is absolutely looking for top 5, trying to make his way past Zuba and Calavi in front of him. Wierzbicki now finally with a good race under his belt is now coming up next to Harrison and Mori, who are both on some pretty big drives. Actually, Harrison's down 3 places, but Mori on a +10, Antunes on a +10, and now Zuba kind of getting eaten up every once in a while. He takes a curve not quite right, and Hazenje has more and more hopes of breaking past him into that top 5.
Yeah, we saw Hazenje try the outside line in towards Brooklands, but actually ran off the circuit, so lost a bit of time through that. The Frenchman of Guinness once again just slowly prodding the car in front of him, just remind him, I might go for a move at any time when you're not expecting. Those sort of tactics Guinness displays. You can see the fastest lap, or faster laps than Soriano for Quarantine Guinness has been faster in the 3 sectors previous. But, it's one thing to catch the car in front, it's another thing to overtake them, as Murray Walker used to say, and Soriano doing a great job here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had an incredible race yesterday. Climbed multiple places in the standings to make his way into the AMX 10 top 12 for the first time this season, amongst kind of the giants of Mateo and Guinness, who have kind of really stamped their mark on that top 5. So good luck, buddy. You are going to need it. Aaron Vasquez having a few issues there. He's had some connection problems earlier and now drops back and even further out of our final heat of the night. Big winners around him, Wierzbicki and Zamperlini, who climb up just a little bit. Aguilar still making moves there. Argentina, the country, well represented with, I think, 6 drivers in the top 10. So really taking names out there on track. And actually, as we watch Zenje, Aguilar is trying to take one more for his notch. It's Aguilar, Zenje, and Peter Zuba going neck and neck. Zenje Aguilar side by side. Whoa, locking up and spinning out, but not losing it. Keeps it pointed forward. A big loss there. Zuba maintains Aguilar down to 11th.
Yeah, Aguilar has had a couple of problems in that corner here this evening, hasn't he? We saw him go off there in Heat 1. Just about stays on in Heat 2, really. As I think we can kind of pinpoint where Quarantine might be quicker than Soriano, and it is this second sector. He is always so close to the car in front of him, the Corvette specifically, in that sector, as Kieran Harrison gets past Simon Demori for 12th spot. Harrison not having as good a race as he maybe had in Heat 1. I think he had a few issues at the start of it, but is recovering well. As here comes Quarantine, move on here, up the inside.
Whoa, and wow, that was not effortless, but wow. Yeah, Soriano now pulling back, looking for a move around the outside. He's got the pace. Reales tumbling back, a crash in the back sends him out of the picture for sure. Now keeping an eye around the corner, no tighter move as you have to get the exit on this one. I think Soriano might have an idea here. Don't pay any attention to Connor. I think he either he's totally out of this, and I think, yeah, he might be. So not sure exactly what's going on there, but excellent race from him earlier, met with kind of the throes of defeat as he tumbles down the order. So we got to move for the top two spots on the podium as Chico versus Mateo kicks off up top, but Ganez just kind of rubbing his hands together because he knows the more they fight, the easier it's going to be for him to slide past Chico up into P3.
Yes, good moves there at the front. Swan Beynat, or Belenat, he's gone at the front, 2.7 seconds. Incredible lead for the Argentine, and he's going to look to take the second heat win of the evening here. It's been a cracking race, though. Apart from the battle for the lead, we've had battles all across the field, and I think that's an important thing to note, that everybody is fighting for every position, and there are some great shakers and movers. Simon Demori, one of them, he's up 10 spots to 12th, and the man behind him as well, up 10 spots to 13th, as here is Quarantine Ganez making that overtake. That is down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands. Yeah, good move by Quarantine, showing his class in the wheel-to-wheel.
Yeah, just absolute pure pace there from Quarantine Ganez up into third, and now coming for more. He's not full yet. Mateo in front of him. He's got 3 laps to do .2. That sounds likely to me. Absolutely have to keep an eye on the front of the pack, but really, Mateo is just got a whole gauntlet of some of the best racers on field right behind him. It's Ganez in third, then Chico, Soriano, and Calavi. All of these guys absolutely some of the best racers on track. I mentioned Chico earlier. This guy's 3.7K iRating, racing against some of the best racers in AMX 10 Global Championships. So he is holding his own and looking good doing it. Cannot give that guy enough props, right behind Quarantine Ganez, who I believe earlier had the fastest lap set on track. I'll have to keep an eye and see who gets the next one as they come through our 8th lap, soon to be 9 here on Silverstone. Only a few more precious seconds left on this track here tonight, so if you're going to get a move done, you might as well do it soon. Atunya is getting up into the top 10 and now on a plus 12 drive of his own. We haven't talked about this guy all race long, but he has some incredible pace, slicing through the rest of the field like a hot knife through, well, I guess if it's hot enough, basically anything. He's done such a good job into P9, and we might have to start talking about him here if he keeps taking on guys like Jackson Asenje is about to overtake in the back. We're talking about Soriano. We're about to have Atunez in the picture right behind him.
Yeah, it's great to see some of the drivers maybe who wouldn't typically be at the front. That's not saying they're slow. It's just races mightn't have fallen their way. It's great to see them so far up the field. And when you look at the I ratings around Martin Chico, 10,000, 8,900, 7,100, and you know he's keeping with them and he's giving them a good fight, which is great to see. But Mateo defending to the inside, he's going to force Ganez to try the long way around the outside, or even maybe A bit of a switchback maneuver. The Ford has to plant his car on the apex just to try and get the traction. Tries to move up the inside, late braking. That is a no-go. That was not on there. You've got to try and get the exit now out of the Vale or at the club onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight and just see, can you maybe get a move done for the first couple of sweeps, but it doesn't look like it's on now for Guinness. He's got a good run. That Ford seems to have better straight line speed than the Porsche. I wonder if he's going to try and run up the inside or maybe the outside. Here he goes in towards turn number 3. Guinness to the outside. Has Matteo gone a little bit wide and given Guinness a little bit of a better line? Now he's going to go from outside to in, potentially. No, it seems like this is going to be in towards Brooklands again for Quarantine Guinness.
Matteo defending for his life on one of the final laps of our racing time tonight on Silverstone. Guinness has another great angle, but has to drop back to catch the inside. Now through the turn into, I was not even talking about Chico Soriano right behind him. I actually thought that was going to be the move instead. Matteo Guinness and then Chico Soriano. Nice to see the P9 replay in the bottom, which turned into an unfortunate shunt. It took, I want to say that was Harrison out. His teammate Coriano is his teammate Guinness. Wow, the wrong name. Is kind of racing for the both of them. Guinness, you're seeing him right there on your screen, try to make the move. But man, Matteo, Drago Racing, they really think you're going to be seeing a lot of these guys. I mean, if you're not already, absolutely everywhere. First, it was Aaron Vasquez, then it was Nico Wierzbicki, and now Matteo wearing that livery to perfection up at the absolute top, racing at the pinnacle, but coming on strong behind him. Kieran Harrison never letting up the pressure for a second.
Yes, and you can see, here comes Guinness once again. No, not going to go there. As you were mentioning, the Drago Racing crew, Aaron Vasquez out of the race here, of course. Himself and Guy Valero have played no part in this one, which is very unfortunate for them. Guy Valero is pumping in fastest lap still, though, so he is still out on the circuit and looking to try and get those extra rewards for the fastest lap. Well, final lap of the race, Juan Belnat at the top has had it pretty much his own way, but Matteo is putting on some incredible staunch defend action to keep Quarantine Guinness behind him.
Yeah, what a sentence to say, right? Keeping Quarantine Guinness behind you. Not something almost anybody on this track can do. We have seen him, challenge for the lead and take it more than almost any other driver on track. Champion of AMX 1 and 10 last season. AMX 0 last season. But anyway, he's one of the best drivers on track for sure. So Chico Soriano, Guinness, all could be up on that podium. You never know what to expect. The white flag, though, has flown. It doth be is flying, and you really have to know if there is a move to be made. Now is the time. The checkered flag is about to follow it any second here. We've got Zuba about to move on Calavi. We've got Soriano watching for Chico in front. And we do have that battle between Guinness and Matteo that's been kicking off for the last, half hour. It feels like forever. So the final standings for this race are seconds away from changing. We've got Zuba moving as fast as he has. In fact, he set his fastest time all race long this lap. So he absolutely knows he has to put the pedal to the metal. Now is his time. Soriano and Guinness seem like they may have settled into their placement, but we are about to watch Blanat win by 3.5 seconds and everyone else battle for the places behind him.
Yes, here comes Blanat running through the final corner. Of course, take the win, big launch from Guinness. Oh, what's going to work? But he went for it. He was going for Broke into the chicane, and Broke he may be, because he did not get that second place. Blanat takes the win in Heat 2. Then it is Matteo in second. Guinness third, Chico fourth. Peter Zuba's just overtaken Gaston Kilhavy on the line to get sixth position. Incredible result for him. Resenge ninth. And it is Simon Demori who will take 10th position. Works for the field well. Kieran Harrison in 12th position. Unfortunately, wasn't as good as his Heat 1 performance. But Guinness as well, a big mover. Up 11 spots to third. Although he didn't get second, he'll still be happy with his performance this evening, I feel.
Yeah, on the podium there too. The last seconds of this race, just as much as the first, delivering so much action. Although, once again, just really got to highlight some of the big moves there. Absolutely cannot say enough for the level of competition here in the AMX 10 Global Championship. It is just a pleasure every single time we go racing out here. The GT class delivering with the GTEs here on Silverstone, and the racers putting on a show from start to finish. So for one final time tonight, let's go ahead and take a look at the results from our 2 heats of racing. At the end of the day, this is where our standings have us. As I think that was Gael Valero, finally the last one to stop on track. Some rough moments during the race yield a final standings that is perhaps different than you might have expected. Gael Valero, he had a rough drive for himself, not in our top 5 or even 10, but he does have the fastest lap because he is making the best out of what was a rough situation. The session winner, the BenQ session winner, Juan Blenat from Argentina, finds himself in P1. It's Nicolas Mateo from España in P2, and then Corentin Ganez in P3 from France, leading what you might have expected to be more French drivers in there. Unfortunately, Gael Valero dropping out. Big shout out once again to Martin Chico, who raced well above where you guys might have expected him to finish P4 above Soriano, his Argentinian countryman there, to round out the top 5. A whole host of the best racers down below there. Incredible drives from a lot of them. Kieran Harrison making it way up the field, only to fall back and finish P12. Nico Wierzbicki, the highest placing Polish driver, to finish 13th, but honestly, just a whole host of who's who's. Connor Nixon, commentating yesterday, and had a huge drive through almost all of the race. Unfortunately, went out in P17. And then, a lot of names you expect to see up in the front, way down there at the back. So a lot of surprises, a lot of epic moments, and overall a great race here on Silverstone, Evan.
Yeah, it was really good, really interesting, and really exciting. There was plenty of wheel-to-wheel action, plenty of good overtakes as well, which we can always be very thankful for. And I think it was a great race. I think there was a couple of dramatic moments as well, just mixed in there, a perfect little concoction of motorsport action this evening.
Yep, I can't say much more than that. Really looking forward to getting a chance to talk to some of our drivers here. Might get a chance to see what they thought of some of the action on track. So we're going to take a little second, but don't go anywhere. We've got our first interview coming up in just a moment. All right, I want to go ahead and welcome Nicolas Mateo to our first time interview after an epic AMX 10 race. Nicolas, how are you doing?
All good, guys. All good.
So it's our first time talking to you. You just finished your first race here in AMX. How did you get started in sim racing, and what did you think of today's race?
Honestly, it was the first race for me. It was quite fun, honestly, because it's like a different format, like with the reverse grid and everything. And for me, it was quite fun, honestly. And I really like the racing standards also. So for me, it was a really good experience this race. Also, the GT in Silverstone is always a good combo. So really good.
It was GTEs on Silverstone, and you had to race against some really, really strong opponents. Did you have some tough battles today out on track, and how did you think about racing against so many strong drivers?
Honestly, I got a bit lucky because I was just in a difficult position, I can say, just in the first lap, especially in the start, because starting from P12, P11 is always difficult. But I got a bit of luck. So in the first lap I overtook like 6 cars. So for me the race was just push and try to push as much as I can, and basically that. But it was really hard, especially with the forts. Especially in Corentin was really fast in the end of the race. So I tried my best.
Well, you had a great drive. It's good to see you here in AMX Global League Season 4. Thanks for the interview, and we look forward to seeing more of you this season.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, guys.
All right, that's going to do it for our first interview. Looks like we have another one moving up. Getting a chance to talk to Juan Blanat coming up in just a second. Go ahead and move him in here and see what he has to say about his pretty epic performance there in our second heat of the night. And go ahead and move him on in just a second. All right, here we go. Our second interview of the night is with Juan Blanat. Now, welcome to our first time getting a chance to talk to you, and welcome to AMX. What did you think of the race today?
Hi. Okay. I speak a little English, so little. Well, okay. My first race was a lot of. I have a lot of incidents, and incident with my friend Toby too. And the second race was, I think I did a good pace, and then I will drive very safe.
All right, well, we learned a lot. Congratulations on such a good race, finishing P1. We're going to move on, but before we go, do you have any message to your Argentinian fans in español?
Ok. Sí, bueno, muchas gracias al equipo Rincon Racing. Y nada, agradecer también a todos mis amigos argentinos, a todo Wooper, que seguro estuvo alguno en el chat o algo. Saludo a todos ellos y un saludo especial también a Toby Soriano.
Well, thank you very much for that message. Good luck in AMX 10 this season, and we look forward to seeing you back here again soon.
Thank you. See you.
All right, now it's time to get into our final interview of the night. For one last time, we're going to go ahead and check in with my good friend, Connor Nixon. Well, long time no see, Connor.
I know, it's been like 30 minutes. Have you missed me?
You know, it's feels like just yesterday we were talking, and of course, welcome back. So you're on the other side of the screen now. You've been commentating a lot this season. What's it like to go from commentating back to racing, and then we'll see you again soon for more commentary?
Yeah, it's a bit different. I mean, I've been racing and other stuff in the Aussie side of stuff, but yeah, it's a bit weird, like racing back in AMX. I'm used to like commentating all these guys, and I'm like, I just passed the guy that I was commenting about, the other day. So yeah, it was mad. It was good racing. Besides my dive bombs that were questionable, even for myself. I know I'm a bit of a king at dive bombs, but yeah, one of them was terrible. So yeah, it was good racing, like all around. It was just really good racing.
Good racing. So talk me through our final heat. You got reverse gridded up pretty high there. That must have been a little bit scary to be racing against so many of these absolute monsters that you and I have cast so much.
Oh, it's very scary. That's why I went for that move on at turn 2 or 3, because I saw the guy in my mirror and I looked at his I rating and it was like 10k, so I was like, I've got to get a wiggle on. And but it's really scary. Like, I thought, I feel like in Australia I was like, my I rating's okay, but when you go international, it's just so different, but it's so scary at the same time. You just see the I rating and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna move out of the way and just cruise around. But yeah, it's awesome fun. Like, it's you learn a lot on the track when those guys are versing. Nico was versing me before. I gave him a couple of doors, but yeah, you learn a lot just sitting behind him. It's a lot of good fun.
I'm glad you had a ton of fun here tonight. We'll be seeing a little bit more of you a little bit later on. You have been doing a lot of racing in the meantime, so good luck in your upcoming races. Thanks for the interview, and I'll be talking with you again soon, a little bit later next week.
Thanks, Reid. Have a good one.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our final interview of the night. Welcome back, Evan, for one final time. I noticed, Evan, as we outro here, that you have a new you've been doing quite a bit in the meantime. If people want to watch and consume more Evan Dalton content, where can they go to find you?
No one does. But you can follow me on Twitter, I suppose, TikTok. There's a few little places. Upload a few clips here and there. And some terrible sports opinions. I'm going to be watching my full first Super Bowl this evening, so if you want to hear that, that's interesting. Sorry, no, I lied. I watched it last year as well. But I think I know everything about sports, so if you want some terrible NFL takes, I guess you can follow me there. But yeah, follow Reed as well. He's also cool.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your racing takes at least, Evan. So we'll try to keep it focused.
Some of them are all right.
I think we have some race results ready for you guys from our time in AMX 10 tonight. GTE is on Silverstone. So many epic moves. And let's take a look at the final standings. Quarantine is high atop the podium once again. Well. He climbs up over Nicolas Mateo and Johan Blena, that we got a chance to talk to a little bit ago. Gael Valero, rough race from him. Heat 1 okay, Heat 2 not so much. But he still takes home the prize for fastest lap in Heat number 2. Jackson Senjay, Kieran Harrison, Toby Soriano, Ricardo Rico, Peter Zuba, and Aaron Vasquez, kind of surprisingly down there in P10. So, surprising results, some really surprising finishes as well. Great day of racing here on Silverstone, wouldn't you say, Evan?
Yeah, it would. Very exciting, very high degree of caliber in these drivers, a high level of racing, some good overtakes, some fast hot laps, and yeah, the real winners are us, because we got to watch that fabulous event.
I would say the real winners are the fans, Evan. But also, I would consider us involved with
us as in
the fans.
Us and those watching is my
I see what you're doing there, Evan. Anyway, wherever you are, if you're in front or behind the camera, in front or behind the scenes, a huge shout out to everybody involved in the AMX Global League Season 4. It's been a great season so far. It's good to have Evan back with us, and I'm sure you'll see him and a whole lot more, the best racing action out there. And we want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. If you want more AMX, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and just about everywhere else at AMX Global. We'd love to and appreciate having a follow from you there. If you want to follow or subscribe to us on Twitch or YouTube, we really appreciate your support. And if you want to race in the AMX Global League, then head over to amxrace.com, where you can sign up to race with all the racers you saw here tonight. If you want to talk to those guys, ask for advice, or get involved in the AMX Global League community, you can join us on Discord, the AMX Global League Discord server. We'd love to have you there, and love to have you back again for more racing this season. Done for this week, and we'll be starting up again on Tuesday, so don't miss it. Go ahead and race with us at amxrace.com, and while you guys are busy doing that, we're going to head on out. So thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. We'll see you again later for even more sim racing action from AMX Global League Season 4. Thanks for watching.